Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I am one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is the Jotun Toten, the Mayor of the Deepstone Crypt, the Vault Dwelling, the Lore Archivist, as requested by the fans, and my favorite Destiny co-host on the Citadel. It is none other than Josh Finney.
Corey, it's been a long 15 months to get here, but we are 5 sleeps away from the Witch Queen.
5 whole sleeps. And so,
and if everything goes
excited.
according to plan, we are 1 sleep away from my collector's edition showing up before the Witch Queen launches.
Ooh.
I have been told to expect it to arrive tomorrow, but it is stuck somewhere in Georgia right now, so not holding out too much hope right now.
Oh boy.
I'm very excited. I'm seeing everybody's been getting theirs over the last week and a half or so. I said we weren't going to read any of the scans until I had a physical copy in my hands, so I'm not having to read PDF scans. But I'm very, very excited to get this in my life.
It's close. It's close.
It's close. So close.
You're going to be holding one of them hive ghosts in your hand?
Yeah, I'll look like a total asshole, and I'll hold the Hive Ghost in one hand and the book in the other hand, like I'm some sort of like Destiny Renaissance painting.
Can you wear like nothing but a fig leaf and a ghost in your Hive Ghost?
No, nobody wants that. I think that breaks the TOS on 3 different platforms that we're a part of. No, I shan't be doing that, but I'll wear my Witch Queen shirt while I do it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Oh, man, it has been a whirlwind couple of weeks in the Destiny world. We had a Vidoc last week. We had some awesome trailers last week. We had the launch trailer this week, and an awesome bit of viral marketing that I want to talk about real quick. Some of it was planned, some of it was definitely unplanned. But yesterday, so we're recording this on Thursday night, the Thursday the 17th, we're recording this on Wednesday the 16th. For about 24 hours from Wednesday into Thursday, Savathun took over the Destiny Twitter account and absolutely just had her way with some of our favorite people out there in the community.
Paul Tassi.
God, I got to pull up some of the things that Savathun said, and I'm taking every single one of these things as canonical. The memes, of course, have not stopped coming ever since it happened. You can tell it's kind of reaching critical mass for everyone. Everyone's on board. It's spreading. The Verge is doing articles about it. It's great.
It's funny. Some of the stuff is really funny. And did you see? So before you read Paul Tassi's thing, did you see the meme going around of him with it's like the Anakin and Padme on Naboo getting looking out into the water? Oh, it was
amazing.
So funny. It was so fun. That one was funny.
That was good. Our friend Ray Apollo sent me a good one earlier this morning too. Me and him we were sending Paul Tassi memes back and forth while we were trying to work. Oh God, where I gotta find where it is. We texted so much today. I gotta scroll back through everything. It's a web comic, and Savathun goes, "You fell right into my trap. Savathun casts Ratio plus Cope plus Seethe plus O Guardian Mind plus Touch Grass." And then it shows your light fades away, and Foolish Guardian 1, Foolish Guardian 2, and Paul Tassi. I could not stop laughing at some of these. But no, I saw the Anakin on Naboo meme. My name is Bife Sheridan. It was just like, I'm so sorry, Paul, but I had to do it. Let's see here. We gotta actually. So Xbox replies to Savathun and goes, "Not bad for your first tweet." Savathun comes back, "Being flawless is only difficult when you are flawed." Oh my God, just so many good. I'll protect you, Mommy Savathun. None shall hurt you. I worked so hard to rid myself of my worm. I am not looking for a replacement.
Oh, it's so good.
Did you kill Osiris? I left behind nothing of value, only some ragged scraps shaped like a man, but I'm sure you'll piece him together again.
It's so good.
Oh my god, it's so good. Would you like to become a gun? What if I never gave you the chance? That I'm searching for the Tassie one because there were so many good ones yesterday. As it keeps going, it's what do you plan to do about your sister? She is still a threat even to you with your newfound power. You can't run from her forever. How can you fight the god of war the same way you outwit the god of lies, little light? You don't. And then Paul Tassie. Savathun, no one in history has ever used the words... okay, we got to give the full context here, okay? So Savathun goes, this will be the mightiest of my works, a real Lulu of a scheme, an undying design. Paul Tassie responds, Savathun, no one in history has ever used the word Lulu outside the context of lemons. Savathun comes back, it's so good to stand and stretch, run my fingers through the grass. You should give it a try. As of the time of this recording, that response has over 13,000 likes.
That's so funny.
And he goes, ratioed by the Witch Queen, I'll never recover from this. It's incredible. Who runs a lot of the socials over there for Bungie did an incredible job with this. I'm very much imagining the President Obama meme of him putting the Medal of Freedom on himself. I'm very much imagining Griffin doing that with himself right now.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
It's oh man, so good. But that's not it. The Vanguard kind of got in on it this afternoon. Talking about unauthorized broadcast and things like that. And then we started getting some teasers on Instagram, of all places. I guess the first time we've ever seen Instagram-specific marketing. Mm-hmm. And they are transmissions coming from someone named Imaru, which we've all kind of taken to think is Savathun's ghost and sounds eerily similar to Zer's voice actor. Referring to Guardians as war maggots.
Cool.
And pests. Basically, it sounds like they're going to they want to ambush us in the throne world. So is this going to be like a reverse public event? There's some interesting theories coming out about that. And last but not least, we had some great cameo videos come out from Lance Reddick and Deborah Wilson. Mm-hmm. Lance, he's done this several times, sending messages of inspiration to clans that request it. But he did it in his Commander Zavala voice, and it's great, addressing the clan by name. Deborah Wilson went incredibly far with this. She did about a 6-minute video. Starts it out as herself and then pretends to be possessed by Savathun, rolls her eyes into the back of her head very creepily.
Yeah.
And then just looks dead ass into the camera. And for about 5 minutes is in character as Savathun, making fun of every one of the clan members of the clan that requested this. Mm-hmm. This is great. This is the shit that I love in this community, that even the voice actors get in on the fun. Even they're like, yeah, this is pretty great. 5 more sleeps. I don't know what's gonna happen between now and then, but 5 more sleeps. Let's go.
I know 5, dude. I'm really excited. I played. Obviously, we both played the exorcism mission this week, and it's just I love when there's mission specific campaign style missions to go leading to the next thing. I just love it. I love that we haven't had it for so long.
Let's talk about the exorcism now.
Okay.
finally, after weeks of predicting it and being wrong, myself and Paul Tassi threw in the towel and just allowed ourselves to be surprised at reset. I was half expecting it to just like be up for maybe an hour leading into the Witch Queen. But had that happened with the way that this mission unfolded, I think most of us would like throwing controllers and embedding them in the drywall of our homes, or breaking our TVs or something. You get all the way through this mission. Very cool mission, by the way. You're running. You start the fight in the blind well, of course. Well, not the fight, but you teleport in the blind well to the bridge that we've seen built all season in the astral alignment that nobody knew about until 2 weeks ago, mind you.
Yeah.
You're making your way down the bridge. There's Hive Tomb ships coming. You're fighting through small groups of ads, the occasional ogre, shrieker, etc. And then you're at the door to where the ritual is going to take place, fighting off, waves of enemies. Not a very hard encounter. Then you get inside, and what happens inside with Savathun's crystal? So both of the bosses from the astral alignment, the Scorn boss and the ogre, are both summoned there, as well as a gigantic knight that is reminiscent of the High Celibant. Are all kind of summoned at various times to fight you. There's a truly staggering amount of enemies in this room. There's a lot, and there's a permanent bubble of light though from Saint. Which may be just one of the coolest additions. Like when he popped the bubble, I was playing it with our friends Ray and Nerd Generalist, and I just went, "Oh my god,
it reminded
happening!"
It reminded me of the homecoming mission when you go out into
when Zavala
does it. And I was like that was really cool, but like seeing Saint do it too is like.
It's also important to remember that we've actually seen Saint do this before in game from Season of the Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I loved it. I loved every single second of what happened in this mission. But you get to the end, and this is the maddening part. So people can actually break this mission in a few different ways. If you're using a sword with eager edge, you will break the mission for your teammates out there on the bridge. If you try to like sword fly down the bridge, you will actually break the progression of it because things can't load quick enough, and everybody will be kicked. Your game will just fuck up, it'll freeze, things like that. You'll be returned to orbit. The second is, this is a match-made mission, but if anybody skips the cutscene, it skips it for everybody. And I cannot tell you, thank God, the 2 times that we ran this mission, nobody skipped the cutscene. We did it right at reset. Nobody skipped it, thank God. But so many people were having issues. I think True Vanguard tried it like 5 or 6 times, and somebody skipped it every single time that he was in there. So he wasn't getting to see the ending. And people were having to like do dedicated fire teams of 6 of their clans and friend just to make sure they got to actually experience it in game.
Oh wow!
To advance, quest progress wasn't advancing. Like the mission is super bugged. And there was supposed to be a ship that we were supposed to get at some point as a reward, which also is bugged. And so Bungie's looking at how to give it just to everybody in the future for free. But irregardless, this final cutscene is really neat. Mara, of course, casts the ritual, does exactly what we thought she was going to do. She was going to pull a fast one and try to kill Savathun. She has the worm. And Osiris is inside the rock. Savathun has swapped places with him right at the moment of the ritual casting. Osiris's identity has been confirmed. It is not Savathun. He's not her. He is alive, but extremely weak. Very weak. And there's a reason we don't see the reunion between him and Saint. Osiris is literally in a coma at this point. There is something interesting that happens during this, though. When Mara says that they have the worm, they've removed the worm, her expression is like kind of... And so with knowing that detail, I want to read a listener question we have from our friend Joasis. Normally we save listener questions for the end, but his question and Lore Corner both tie into this moment. Based on the recent trailers and the exorcism ending, what is your prediction on how Savathun gets the light? In recent weeks, I've kind of pushed the theory that I thought that Crow would be there with us and that she would somehow steal the light from Glint. We don't exactly see how she gets the light here, but if I can offer a conspiracy theory, it's possible that there was still some light left in Osiris when she possessed his body, because we know that he wielded all the supers at once when Sagira died. Or maybe she was able to extract the final bit of light from Sagira before she died. Maybe that's how she died. I don't know.
Yeah. We don't know.
We didn't see it. We didn't see it. It's also entirely possible that Mara's ritual did work, and this is my true belief, that Mara's ritual worked and that Savathun still died, but that she managed to cast her ritual and she managed to cast her teleportation in time. She swapped places with something marked with her rune, which is Osiris. We can pretty clearly assume now that she is on Mars. That's where the throne world is. I think it's possible that she died and Traveler chooses to resurrect her with a ghost. I think that based on the trailers, based on the dialogue that we've seen in this season, and really since the beginning of Beyond Light, the line between light and dark is gone. There is no, it's not as simple as good versus evil anymore, because, I mean, good guardians are using the darkness to further, the cause of justice and, protecting humanity and things like that. But we've also seen those who wield the light to it for horrible things as well. The Dredgens come immediately to mind. Dredgen Yor. The warlords of the Iron Lord area. Hell, even Shax's old buddies, running around using the light to rule people. And so I think that this is an expansion that we may not get the answer to how Savathun stole the light until the end of the campaign. It very much seems like almost like a murder mystery plot is going to happen based on the board of clues that we've seen appear since the initial Witch Queen trailer, and it does seem like Ikora and maybe our Guardian are going to be given a lot of visions by Savathun of what happens. I think it's also entirely possible to think that we know Ikora's hanging out on Mars a lot. Does Ikora's ghost get stolen?
Is her ghost not in any of the trailers?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I think that, it's not hard to put out a fake scene from a trailer. We see movies do it all the time where, we just erased something, or, we put something in, and that's not really what was there.
Right. Especially from like a cut scene.
Yeah. Oh, from a cutscene, it's insanely easy to do. Because we won't see her in actual gameplay, but in all the cutscenes, I think it's safe to assume if you don't see somebody's ghost materialize next to them, it is entirely possible their ghost can be stolen. Mm-hmm. But I'm also wondering if Savathun, because we see that smile on Mara's face, if Savathun took over Mara. I think that's another question we have to ask ourselves. Is she residing in Mara's body? And because we don't know how much time. Canonically, does a week really pass between now and the Witch Queen or not?
Right.
And to my theory about Glint, this is why I want Lore Corner now. We're going to read the final page of the Ripples book, which is available in the Helm after listening to a final audio message between Ikora and Petrovenge about how Osiris was recovered, how Ikora thinks, oh my god, we just wasted all this time doing the exorcism. Savathun got what she wanted. And Petra points out, no, we got Osiris back. That is a big win. Like, his mind being back is a huge win for the Guardians. And for, the side of the light, which the Awoken have pretty clearly decided to side with humanity at this point.
Yeah.
So I want to read this. It's number 8, Correspondence. And it's a letter from Mara to Crow. Brother, the Witch Queen has been banished from the Dreaming City, and we are no longer bound by her secrets. You are no longer bound by your own. I have been told my trajectory leads to solitude. In truth, I believed myself arrived for some time. I would change course if given the opportunity. There was a time I feared you would lose yourself trying to follow me, but that time has passed. No matter the name you take, you are unrepentantly yourself, which is to say reluctant and stubborn in ways I find enraging. And I love you for it. I ask neither forgiveness nor understanding. I offer only sanctuary and tea if you would be amenable. I am here if you decide to come home. Mara. I think that this is really unique in the way it's presented because, yes, you can read this a few different ways. You can read this as this is Mara genuinely wanting to make amends with Crow. And to be clear, that is most likely what this is. But given what we see, the expression on Mara's face, that could very easily be an abnormality in the cutscene or in the in-game models. It's entirely possible. I think that this points to evidence that she's going to try something with Crow yet again in the in-between. It's pretty clear we're not going to see Savathun with the light. I thought that maybe this would end with her stealing the light from somebody. It pretty clearly didn't. I think it's entirely possible that that's the opening of the Witch Queen, is that we see, pretty clearly that we see her in the first mission with her ghost. The question becomes, how does she raise these Hive Guardians, I think? And I'm very curious, like the way that her ghost sounds in the videos that we've gotten this week, Amaru sounds, just what happens. That sounds to me like a ghost that's been around for a very long time, not that was literally just instantaneously created. But I think the last theory that we have to consider is, because we don't know if the Lucent Brood are going to be, if we're going to be fighting them off of the Throne World / Mars. Are these just illusions created by Savathun within her throne world? I think that's another question. And so there's a lot of mysteries to unpack here. And I think the most logical answer is I simply don't know. I don't really have a prediction anymore because I think most conventional predictions were shattered with the Exorcism mission.
Yeah.
But I do still think there's a pretty high chance that Crow plays into this. Crow and Savathun have a unique connection. She is ultimately the reason that Uldren fell to the dark side in the first fell to the darkness in the first place.
Right.
Through Riven.
Right. And
she's pretty much been behind the events of everything that's happened in the series since Cade's death.
Yeah.
So when we think about that, and we're presented with that idea, I think that it's more likely than not that Crow plays a major part in this expansion, whether that's just in the beginning or if it goes on. What did she put in Crow's mind when Crow touched the crystal? We have no idea. Did she do something there? Is she still spying on us, during the events of Season of the Risen? This is not something that's going to just be pushed aside for us to uncover in a later season. This is a storyline that I think is going to continue straight in. Is Crow still a major fixture of the seasons this year? Is he more of the seasonal storyteller, really, in a lot of ways, than an expansion one? And we just don't know. I think there's so many intriguing routes you can go here that I almost just want to sit back with us being 5 days away and just enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you make a good point. I wonder if Crow is becoming the it's like a Jesus moment almost, right? Where he's the answer no matter what happens, right? He's the answer, and I wonder if they're going to try to start exploring that side of it at this point.
Yeah, I'm very excited. He's been very key to the seasonal events of this year, and a lot of that's because Savathun placed him in those roles, but also Zavala trusts him enough to be his emissary to Kaido. Mm-hmm. Him and Lord Saladin are the emissaries, and we see them, in the hangar when Kaido arrives.
Yeah.
So, now we have to ask, is Crow relocating to the tower this year because he's hanging out in Cade's old spot? It looks that way from the trailers. He's leaning up against the same post Cade used to, flipping the knife, and the knife flip very much looked like Petra's knife.
Yeah.
I was very concerned about Petra. Now we have to ask ourselves, though, because nobody actually died in the exorcism mission. Osiris, by all accounts, is alive. And I think to kill him off now, after the exorcism, would just be
stupid. If you're going to kill him, you're going to kill him during the exorcism. I could see, that first mission, you're going to, maybe meet up with Crow, rendezvous with Crow on Mars somewhere with Keitel, and Petra somehow gets killed, and then he picks up her knife or something.
I mean, it is entirely possible.
Or maybe he just has a knife that looks
happens.
like hers.
That's probably the more reasonable solution, honestly. Maybe it's a hunter knife. I was just noting, like a lot of people, I don't know that it necessarily looks like a Petra's knife, but he's flipping it the exact same way she does.
Yeah.
And like the emote does.
Yeah.
It's very possible it's just the hunter knife.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, though, that I think that this raises new questions about who is spoiler alert talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hate to say this, but I think the writing is on the wall for Ikora.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen right away in the campaign, but I think the writing is on the wall that Ikora may be done at the end of this expansion. She may be done. And I think whoever spoiler alert is referring to will be dead by the end of the campaign. I could see them doing it to Ikora. I don't think it'll be Zavala.
Yeah, I don't...
if it's because he just seems like he's part of the, not just because he's part of the seasonal storyline. Because if you're going to kill off Ikora or Zavala, it's gonna be in a main expansion.
Yeah.
But it really feels like with how heavy they've leaned into Ikora here, that could come. And I'll present one final one before we finally move on to the TWAB and to something fun we've got planned for the end of the show. But could it be, we know that a rework of Iron Banner is coming in Season 17? Is it Lord Saladin?
Yeah, and then Evert would take over, maybe? Like maybe she shows up?
Yep.
I mean,
she's been MIA for so long.
I mean, we've been talking about Saladin forever at this point, right? Because that we went through that whole lore part where he was like reflecting on his life, coming to terms with things, coming to terms with his anger about things that have happened in his life, really dealing with a lot. That makes a lot of sense at this point. He's one of the
we have that.
Titans.
We have the lore from the Empty Vessel when he went to go make amends with Zavala, and Savathun stopped him.
Yeah. We
have the lore from Tales from the Front, from Season of the Chosen. He was the commander of the war effort. He takes Crow under his wing. There are so many inflection points here. I mean, there's even a piece between him and Ikora that happens at one point. I think it's in some of the Season of the Chosen lore, if I remember correctly. And he is basically told by Ikora, we need you and the Iron Lords more than ever. Mm-hmm. We're weak right now on our front. We need you. And it hints that, he may be raising up a new generation of Iron Lords for real this time and won't be interrupted by the Cabal yet again. And I'm curious to see how they handle this going forward. So I think that Saladin also may play into this. That's been one of the big complaints, I think, is that Saladin and Shaxx have largely sat on the sidelines for the narrative for the entire series. They may live on in the lore, but really up until this year, outside of Rise of Iron, Saladin had he did nothing in the current day. Mm-mm. And I think it'll be very interesting. I think Shaxx is going, we're going to talk about this in a little bit with the TWAB. It seems like PvP is going to be a big focus in Season 17. So does Shaxx take on a more prominent role then? Yeah. And if so, do you really kill off Saladin before a major PvP season? Or do you leave him for the inevitable fall of the tower and he makes his final stand there?
I mean, I think that's
there's a lot of... I think it is too. So I think that you have a target pretty firmly planted on Ikora's back right now. Mm-hmm. Her, and I mean, I can't even say Eris anymore because Eris just wouldn't be surprising. It feels like Eris's time has been up for quite a while. She sat there and played around with the darkness. She's flirted with light and dark. She is the expert on the darkness, basically, for the Vanguard at this point. Yeah, she's been bumming it on the moon. I say bumming it because I went back to the moon for the first time in like a year this week to go farm some bounties to save up for the Witch Queen, and goddamn, it's depressing out there.
To be fair, it always was.
Right. It's like, so what do we do there? Like, I don't know. But those are questions for all of you to ponder, along with the rest of us. We will have answers in 5 days, hopefully. If we don't get an answer in the expansion, I'm going to be really upset because this is going to drive me nuts until we get an answer about who was this for.
Who's dead? Who's dying?
Who's fucking dying? Hurry up and kill off my beloved fictional characters, Bungie.
You don't think it's like...
We're going to jump into the TWAB, though.
You don't...
Go ahead, Corey.
You don't think it's going to be someone like Stranger, do you? Or Elsie, I guess. Right.
So all I'm going to say is I think Elsie is the one person that is 110% safe because every time she dies, it resets the timeline.
Okay. Maybe she dies at the end of the Light and Dark saga and it just resets Destiny.
I would be so mad. I would be furious. No, I think Elsie is safe. There will be an inflection point that we get to, I think, because she's already noted. Well, then again, she has noted we're in a different timeline than she's ever experienced before at this point. So while it is possible, I think because she has too many quests tied to her, she's safe. And I mean, maybe Eris is safe too, unless they're just gonna be like, oh yeah, the moon is just, there in perpetuity. And it's kind of frozen at a point in time, and that's why Eris is there. Oh, hey, here's a computer terminal with Eris's memories. Go get Xenophage with it. There are things that are entirely possible to do that would just be dumb, but it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility for them to do it to us. Anna Bray is one, maybe? We are going back to Mars after all. But I feel like she's been absent from the narrative for so long that it just wouldn't hit the same.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It when you gotta hit. It has to be somebody that's gonna hit hard. It's got to be someone.
This is the beginning of the end. This expansion really is like Beyond Light kicked off the final phase of Destiny 2. I think if we look at it like this, I think that obviously. You look at the story of Destiny thus far. Destiny 1 is like the first act. Okay. Destiny 2, from the Red War up until the end of Shadowkeep, is Act 2. Savathun announcing her arrival in Season of Arrivals is literally, I think, the inflection point for the beginning of the final act of D2, of the final act of the Light and Dark saga.
Yeah.
The arrival of the Black Fleet is here. Everything is going really bad. Things are going real bad. Guardians are wielding the darkness. We're killing people in Trials and in the Crucible, canonically. It's really bad. And Lightfall is probably going to be our lowest point, I would say. Like, the actual Lightfall expansion, maybe the events leading into it. And very clearly something bad's going to happen. That name does not imply anything good, but they felt that there was enough of a story to need to do another expansion after, and another set of seasons. So I am curious to see how they rectify all of this and close it, because I firmly believe that by the end of this set of seasons, we're going to have the seeds planted for whatever comes next. We will start seeing teases of what could happen. I mean, there's an infinite way to keep these races that we've been interacting with throughout the story in the storyline. I mean, maybe when we go beyond the edges of the Sol system, we encounter Tortobal, and we help the Cabal resettle it and take it back from the Hive.
Right.
That still exists. Maybe we go to Fundament and cure it. Maybe the Traveler, somehow accompanies us and we cure it. We go to the Forge where the Vex are from. We finally learn the mystery behind the Black Garden. There's so many different things you can do here. What if we restore the Elixni homeworld? And, we recover, faster than light travel that we were developing before the collapse. And we're able to, we can fly from Earth to the fallen homeworld immediately to meet with Mithrax and his council. There's so many things that can happen in the future that I'm very curious, because we're getting deeper into the lore than we ever have for a main expansion. I feel like the appreciation of what comes next, if I could give a word of advice to everyone, it would be to familiarize yourselves with the story of Oryx and his sisters. To familiarize yourself with what happened on Fundament, with the Worm Gods. Like, clearly we're going to see flashbacks, but as we've all learned with Savathun, what we may see from her is not the truth.
You think we'll see like versions of flashbacks from her, like as missions?
I think we're going to piece them together. I think we're going to piece together memories and then get them all in a string at the very end. Like maybe like at the end of each mission, like you're recovering memories of Savathun from the Hive Ghosts, maybe as you crush them. Maybe you're obtaining new memories.
Maybe, yeah.
And maybe her ghost at the end comes and tells you the truth. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like Imaru will be a main character. And, of course, I'm making a giant assumption. I could look like a fool on Tuesday morning, and that's not actually her ghost. But it really feels like he calls himself First Ghost. Come on.
Yeah.
But we are only a couple days away. I kind of want to just see what happens now. I look forward to coming back next Thursday and freaking out about the campaign and, about the intro to Season of the Risen and speculating about, we may have a raid trailer by Thursday of next week. Like, let's talk about, what's coming up with the raid. We know it's taking place in a pyramid ship. I'm so excited for what's coming. Let's get there, man. 5 sleeps.
Let's do it. Let's sleep. What if we just did one really long sleep and woke up and it was here?
I am going to be sleeping a lot because I will not be sleeping much next week.
I don't think that's how that works.
Move on to that.
I don't think you could just bank. I don't think you could bank sleep hours, Josh. I don't think that's how that works.
I don't think you can either. But you know what? I'm going to catch up on my sleep this week. I'm going to buy a pack of Red Bull. I'll be good to go. Red Bull and beer is what's going to fuel my gaming next week.
No, beer makes you tired.
Beer does not make me tired. Fine, I'll do shots. Corey doesn't want me to drink beer. I'll do shots.
Oh, God. Then you won't have any memories.
I'll have a few bourbon and cokes. Yeah, if the story goes sideways, I'm just going to have a few bourbon and cokes to even it out. But, Corey, I was not planning on this being a long show, and that's part of why I came up with what I want to talk about at the end. We are going to fly through this absolute monster of a TWAB because it's all about Gambit. Gambit, and all the changes to it. We were told to temper our expectations last week, and man, I was feeling down. I was telling our friend A1 Johnny that if this was not a major rework of Gambit, they have built it up way too much. They have waited too long to curtail our expectations. But let me tell you something. They really delivered it. They delivered with this. There's a whole lot from Alan Blaine, who's the principal designer behind Gambit, in here, and the philosophy for the Gambit team of what it should be like. I'll let you guys read that on your own. I want to conserve my voice as much as possible with what's coming. The upcoming changes for Gambit fall into 5 categories, though: the core activity, the ammo economy, primevals, invasions, and rewards, which, to be fair, basically encompasses everything except for maps, ? Core activity changes. This is a big one, and this may be the thing I'm most excited about. Freelance Gambit is a thing.
Oh, boy. Josh's excited.
If you hate 4 stacks, if you like teammates who hold on to 15 motes for far too long and get killed by the invader, if you like the people who beat you to the heavy and then pretty much teabag in front of you, by God, this is the node for you. I do like what they say here. We see over and over again that full stacks of friends or clanmates have a significant advantage over groups of solo opponents. The modes we have added freelance to all feel like they end up with more balanced matches more often, even as they increase and split the number of matchmaking pools. We are investigating ways to remove the need for freelance nodes that split the population and hope to have something for you later this year. And they do make this note later on in the TWAB about trials as well, I'd like to note. Rotating seasonal selection of curated encounters starting in Season 16. Playing in Classic Gambit and Gambit Prime, you've got a randomly selected encounter from a list of 3 for each enemy race on each map. And Beyond Light, due to production issues, we were only able to bring one of the 3 variations forward into the new activity. Those issues have now been fixed, and we are bringing the missing variations forward. Playing with the single variation for race and map for a year led us to an interesting observation. It's fun to know that Hive on Pacifica means, oh god, Shriekers. It may not be interesting for an entire year, but we think it's interesting to have a set rotation of spawns for a season and over those 3 months really master the encounters. So no more Shriekers on Pacifica for now, but they'll be back later on in the year. Respawn points added to all fronts, section of maps where enemies can cycle in and out. It can be frustrating to always have to run all the way from the backfield after spawning before you're able to help teammates fight the invader, collect motes, etc. It can also be frustrating as an invader to always spawn at the same location on the same map multiple times in a row, or have the invader camp the entrance to avoid confrontation. More respawn points have been added to every map. Great. I cannot tell you how bad it feels to spawn in on Nessus and have to sprint from the very back all the way to the other side of the map. It feels bad every single time. It feels bad on the Pacifica map because you spawn out there in the open. Mm-hmm. It feels bad on the Earth map because you're always back in that stupid little cove.
Yep.
It feels bad on every single map. Mars, you're always in the cave. You're gonna fucking die. You're gonna die back there. Just Spoiler alert. You're gonna walk out and get one-shotted.
Yep.
It feels bad. Players will drop half the motes they are carrying when they were defeated.
Ooh.
No more losing all 15 motes at once.
Thank God.
These can be picked up by anyone, including invaders. Invaders also drop more motes now. This makes recovering from a ruthless invader or bad luck fighting enemies a little easier. Players can be revived by other players 2 seconds earlier, and auto-respawn is delayed by 2 seconds to emphasize and reward teamwork. I love that.
Good.
All shields have increasing resistance to non-matching damage types. Not as severe as match game resistance and Nightfalls. We wanted a way to promote build crafting and teamwork. And that's good. This should be a higher end activity, I think. This is PvEVE. Or PvEVP. This is a horde mode with elements of the Crucible in it. This should be a higher end activity where you have to coordinate and you have to think about things. Rules of Gambit node added to the launch screen, and numerous Gambit-specific hints have been added to the load screens. Thank God.
Thank God.
Okay, so we're through the first one. Blockers, Draining, and the Bank. 10 mote phalanx blockers have had the health boosted. They're a good positional challenge with their shield and knockback. We felt they weren't quite tough enough for their mote cost compared to the knight, so we increased their health. True, you can one-shot those quite often with a fusion rifle or with a good shotty. 15 mote Night Blocker gains a stasis attack. I do not like the explanation here of they plan to pull its health down. We felt it was a little too beefy. I totally agree there, though. But they do they have some philosophical changes thanks to the ammo economy that, okay, I can see this. I still don't think that you needed a stasis attack. I think that the flame attack was way more enough. Mote drain from multiple blockers continues even if the opposing team is in primeval phase. I love that. It will not pull the team that is fighting the primeval out of primeval damage, but what it will do is it will make it to where the opposing team can catch up a lot quicker. So it's also an incentive for you to keep sending those giant blockers and for the other team to have to deal with them. Mote drain is paused if a player is near the bank and engaging blockers. It never feels great to have your motes draining away while you pour primary ammo into 3 taken knights. Thank God. Thank God.
Right.
I'm here for this. Keeping somebody near the bank on invader and blocker duty. I forgot the word for a second. Invader and blocker duty will probably be a pretty key strategy going forward, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I like that. Make the game much more tactical. It should be. Horde modes are supposed to be more tactical. So I like this. Ammo economy changes. When completing a front, so basically a wave, a chest containing a small amount of special and heavy ammo spawns in the middle of the front and can be looted once by each player. It does time out after 20 seconds, so you can't dilly-dally. Killing a high-value target spawns 1 normal heavy brick for each player. During the primeval phase, ammo spawn in one of the fronts every 60 seconds. This replaces the regular front ammo chest, but you still need to find the time to go grab it. Limited special and heavy ammo bricks to only spawn from enemies if you have finder mods equipped. Other ammo exotics and perks like Aeon Colt still work. And it's all pretty self-explanatory. They wanted to give more heavy ammo out more often. It never feels good to be like, well, I've got the heavy brick and I have eyes of tomorrow, I guess. You know, I'm set to be the invader forever. Or, oh, damn, I have eyes of tomorrow and I didn't get to the heavy. I guess I can't invade and we're all going to die. It never feels good to do that or to have to go over and try and primary your opponents. It works sometimes, not all the time. The primeval fight. It should have more to do than simply burning the boss as quickly as possible. And its mechanics shouldn't be complex, but should require about as much tactical play as a high-end strike boss. Primeval health and Slayer stack bonus returned. Burning the boss after 3 rounds of Envoy should be just as easy as it is now, but burning him after just 1 or 2 should be significantly more work. Envoys now spawn with friends out in the fronts rather than in the back area. They have reduced health and are no longer affected by Slayer stacks and have varied elemental shields. Killing the Envoys to get Slayer stacks will require movement, dealing with Envoy protectors, and dealing with their elemental shields. Envoys put an invulnerability shield on the Primeval. You must kill them both to remove it and damage the Primeval, forcing your team to go out and invade. Envoys respawn at 30% of the Primeval damage done. This increases by 10% every Envoy respawn, and Envoy stops spawning after the 5th spawn. And finally, thank God, I danced around the apartment reading this one. The Primeval Servitor boss, a.k.a. Gambit Meatballs, has been removed since the custom shielding mechanics conflicted with new mechanics. The Malfeasance quest will now start on your first Primeval kill. I'm so happy about this. There is no worse feeling than getting to... I mean, if it was the meatball, it often meant that the other team could catch up, but nobody understood to shoot the fucking shields.
No.
But you gotta shoot those balls, or like, oh, it never feels good that you just cast a super and all of a sudden there's 4 shields up and you can't help take care of them. It never feels good.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, for gameplay changes, invasions. A good invader should be able to turn the tide of a match, but a good invader should be no more important than any other equally skilled team member. We don't want a single good invader to completely dominate match income, and they certainly do now. However, we still want a good invader to be able to delay a strong PvE team from finishing off the Primeval. Level advantage is now disabled for invader PvP. It actually has been since the start of Beyond Light. Surprise! One of the moat phase invasions has been removed. Invasions now trigger at 40 and 80 moat thresholds. Primeval phase invasions are unchanged. Invasions can no longer be saved up. Use it or lose it. Thank God! It never felt good for a very strong team to save up 3 invasions and hit you just back to back to back to back to back. It never felt good, ever.
Nope.
And drain all your moats at the same time. It felt awful. Invaders can no longer see how many moats enemy players are carrying, and player nameplates fade out when the invader is aiming down their sights. You can still see them through walls, just not while you're engaging rocket tracking or using sniper zoom. And they have fixed the bug with Primeval healing effect, and now invader kills heal the Primeval for exactly 27% each time. This sounds like a lot, but it's actually less than the optimal amount prior, which ranged anywhere between 5 and 35%. They are ready to retune this one as necessary. They say that right off the bat. They're watching, and they are ready to go if they gotta fix this. So with all that taken into account, for just gameplay, and we still have some more Gambit changes to get through, but just gameplay, this sounds much more closer to what we imagined Gambit Prime would be,
right,
than what we've had for the last year and a half.
Yeah, definitely.
I will tell you right now, I want to see how this plays first. I'm still slightly annoyed that there's been no change to reputation for Gambit. Mm-hmm. Vanguard got another pass this coming season. In Season 16, Gambit did not. They said they wanted a full season with the changes to see how that went before they decided to increase rep. Spoiler alert, I think you're going to have to increase reputation gains. But I will tell you right now, these changes will have me in the Gambit playlist more.
Yeah.
This feels a little bit better, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to make it more work, like the Primeval phases, you're going to have to increase the rep gains.
Yeah.
For wins and losses especially. You're going to have to increase that. If this really is higher end, it should not be an activity that I feel like I have to do on double Infamy Week just to have a chance at advancing it.
Right.
So,
it never feels good. That's always the worst when you feel like the only way you can progress is if you go in and double rank.
Yeah. It never feels good ever. I hate it. And
Gambit's always been the worst at it, it feels like, for some reason. Maybe it's just because the mode just isn't fun after 1 or 2 rounds, right? Like it sucks, especially when you're going up against...
It's not fun by yourself. You're usually up against stacks. Like, I think with the freelance node, I'm much more inclined to go play Gambit on my own now.
Yeah.
And I think that that'll make it much more of a challenge for a team, too. 2 4-stacks going up against each other could be really fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll actually enjoy Gambit again. But I look forward to trying it out and playing it some. Probably not until we get through at least the first week of content, though. I don't think I'll be dabbling in Gambit for anything other than my powerful drop that first week. Maybe the week leading up to the raid, I'll be playing some more Gambit. But this is what's got me jazzed here, though, this next one. This is my other favorite change to rewards. Gambit is the second of the core rituals after Trials of Osiris that get Engram focusing options. You can focus the Gambit Engram into either armor or weapons for 10,000 Glimmer and 50 legendary shards. Gambit Weapons will include Crowd Pleaser, the heavy grenade launcher, Bottom Dollar, that slick hand cannon revolver that everybody wanted during Season of the Chosen, Trinary System, the fusion rifle, I believe also from Season of the Chosen, Borrowed Time, the SMG from Season of the Splicer, and this season's Servant Leader, which is far and away one of the absolute best playlist weapons that we've gotten all year, as a primary scout rifle at a 260 archetype. Very reminiscent of Randy's throwing knife and trusty. Brand new Gambit weapons are drop only for the first season and then will be available for focusing. We expect to expand Drifter's focusing options further during upcoming seasons. So for me, this screams that they will probably start rotating back in, similar to how Trials has, some of the older Gambit Prime weapons. They make a note right here also that Bygones, Trust, and Bad Omens have been removed from Drifter. You can no longer go and buy those curated rolls. 2 of those have been useless for 15 months now. If you do not have a tracking Bad Omens in your vault, tracking with cluster bombs, and you have it unlocked at Drifter, go buy it. Go buy it, throw it in your vault. Having a tracking cluster bomb Bad Omens never hurt anybody. And it's fully masterwork the second you buy it. So totally worth it. With this, though, can I make one request? I really, really, really want them to make the legendary ornaments for the Gambit weapons drop as random rewards from the end of matches. That would get me to grind out Gambit, because I can't tell you, I've wanted the Gnawing Hunger ornament for like 3 years now, and I've still never gotten it because it's not in the game anymore.
Yeah. It
was made unobtainable shortly before Beyond Light came out. So that's really frustrating to me. I'd like that. I'd like the Night Watch ornament. I have the Bad Omens one, and it's really cool. I would really like to get those legendary ornaments back, though, especially if these guns are not going to be going away. And if we'll be able to, we don't know, maybe we'll be able to craft these at the crafting table later on in the year. End of match drops. There is a Gambit memento for weapon crafting. It can drop after any match. Older Gambit shaders now have a chance of dropping at the end of each match. And Prime Evil Servitor cosmetic drops can now drop at the end of any match, along with the Furtive Shell Ghost, which is currently available at Drifter for a set number of resets. So that's all really cool. I think that that's totally needed. It's mind-boggling that it took this long for these changes to come in.
I know.
But Drifter getting reworked for his rewards is not something any of us had on our bingo card for this season. I think it's assumed, they're not doing it with anybody. Cool. And now it looks like we're getting it with Drifter now. All signs point to Zavala and Saladin getting it next season.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see Zavala's changed to Shax just so they can keep the PvP theme going.
Right.
Oh, excuse me, we were getting Banshee this season. I'm sorry. We were getting Banshee this season, who also sorely needed that change. So
turn in your your parts, your weapon parts.
Your weapon parts. God, dude, I've got 30,000 of those things still. I've been turning them in, but at this point, I've got everything that I want. There's nothing more he can give me that I care about. I'm not going to sit there and turn in 30,000 weapon parts.
Did they say what we're getting in place of that? In place of weapon parts? Yet?
I don't think we're getting anything. I think now just whenever you dismantle weapons, you get legendary shards, you get glimmer, and you actually get rep with Banshee that way.
Okay.
When you dismantle things. The future of Gambit and Gambit Labs. Kind of a timeline for some changes. The daily Gambit bounty objectives are generally fine, but some of the repeatable bounties have onerous completion requirements. We're taking a pass on these, but they won't come all at once. Sometime this season, we will be adjusting the completion amounts of most repeatable bounties. Weapon kills will go from 25 to 15, melee and grenade kills from 25 to 5, and super kills from 15 to 10. In Season 17, we will make additional tuning changes and adding 3 new bounties. And throughout the year, we will also add bounties specific to Light 3.0 upgrades. And then Gambit Labs, there's a huge thing here to play with some of the core invasion concepts. These will run for 1 week each and will take over the base Gambit nodes. Invasion Swap. This variation plays around with who gets the benefit from triggered invasions. During the moat phase, instead of opening your own invasion portal at 40 and 80 moats, you instead open your opponent's invasion portal. We expect this to completely disrupt the accepted meta for how and when to deposit and invade. We're looking forward to seeing the clever strategies and counter strategies. And then Moat Thief. The original concept of the Invader was Guardian as a taken terror, overpowered and dangerous, something new to have to fight. While that's compelling, we don't believe it's the only compelling Invader fantasy. We believe the sneaky Moat Thief is worth exploring too. Maybe there are more? Normal moat drain from having 2 blockers is disabled. Instead, every second the Invader is invading, 1 moat drains directly from your bank to the Invader's bank. That actually sounds really dope.
Yeah.
I think both of these sound really cool, and I really look forward to playing around with these. If Gambit had more variations like this, I think it would be a lot of fun. Like, you could have Classic Gambit, have the mode as it's going to exist next season be called Classic Gambit, and then Gambit Invasion Swap and Gambit Moat Thief as, like, timed modes once they're out of labs. Have those as, like, a once-a-month thing. We're going to surprise you with, kind of like how Iron Banner is. 3 times a season, we're going to give you Invasion Swap or Moat Thief for a week. I think that would be really cool. That would force you to stay on your toes. Make those maybe the weeks that you offer double XP or something to get people in to play these fun modes. I want to play these before I heap too much praise, but I like the idea on paper of both of these.
Yeah.
Definitely introducing some new objectives. I think Gambit overall really needed those. And then what about Trials? Fear not, Trials fans. We still have some changes planned for you. As we discussed earlier this season, we're going to continue to liberally schedule Capture Zone and freelance weekends, as well as the upcoming Reputation updates. For Season 16, we're moving to a schedule of 7 maps for the season, one of which you get to decide. Expect a survey to come out in the next few weeks to vote on the final map. We also have adept reward changes coming for Season 17, and we'll preview those later this season. Oh, man. What's next, you might ask? We're still ironing out the details, so don't have anything to share today, not even a lore drop. However, we're planning to make the next 4 seasons a banner year for Rituals. We hope our Season 17's plans spark joy for everyone. I am very excited for all of that. That just sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Trials has been the best it's ever been this season. Of course, I know that if you've tried playing it in the last couple months, you're probably thinking, Josh, you are high off your kite. It was really cool when so many people were playing it at the beginning of the season, and I really hope that that energy continues for the first couple seasons of Trials now in the Witch Queen. But who knows if it's going to actually happen. I look forward to going in trying to get at least a couple rolls of Summoner and of whatever the new weapon is. And we'll see where we go from there. This sounds awesome. I look forward to getting the new Gambit weapon, and getting the memento that comes from Gambit. Trying out Moot Thief, like all this just sounds really fun. I have some skepticism because Gambit is traditionally the weakest of the ritual areas outside of how Trials was until this season. I would say it's definitely the weakest.
Yeah.
But we'll see. This is a bigger change for Gambit than I think any of us were actually expecting. But it's been so long since they gave a lot of care to Gambit. We've gotten base updates ever for Gambit, and that was with Shadowkeep or that was with Gambit Prime and with Beyond Light. We go about 18 months without any updates to Gambit, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. and by updates, we mean no updates, like not even maps.
Yeah, so. By updates, we mean jack shit. Whew.
God.
Okay, bear with me. We are a little over halfway through this TWAB right now.
It's okay.
Final patch note preview. I don't typically read patch notes, but a lot of this is actually stuff that we need to talk about. However briefly it is. Ritual rewards. Starting with the Witch Queen, Ritual playlist rewards will be upgraded to grant specific ritual gear, weapons, mods, armor, and no longer be granting rewards from the general world loot pool. Crucible will grant Crucible gear, Vanguard, and Gambit. Engram focusing is currently only available at Saint and the Drifter. World Engrams will continue to be granted at major ranks on ritual vendors, just for a little variety. Gambit, Crucible, and Vanguard rituals are receiving updated armor rewards for the expansion release, and these share the same base appearance, but slight differences in decals and coloring to represent each ritual. I do not really care for so the Hunter, let's start with the Titan. The Titan looks like a Hunter here. I want to start with the Titan. It's a non-chunky piece of armor.
Thank
I think
God.
Titans can rejoice.
I'm tired of being fat.
There are no rain gutters on your arms.
Thank God. I'm tired of being fat Titan, okay? Why do you think I still wear the Iron Banner chest piece from the second season of Shadowkeep?
Yeah, this looks like the most compact Titan set we've seen in a long time.
Thank God. The helmet
Hunter
looks cool too.
It does.
Okay, cool.
I like the chest piece personally.
Okay, cool for a Titan helmet just means it's not as ugly as the rest of them. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
It looks these all kind of look similar to the Sparrow Racing League armor and to like the Guardian Games armors in a lot of ways. In fact, the Hunter armor is almost exactly the Guardian Games armor that I paid for last year.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to note that. I'm not a huge fan of how the Crucible logo is just like plastered on this Hunter, but I can dig it if the Gambit appearance is like black and green or black and white. I could really dig that. Of course, a lot of us have been playing with transmog for about a year now, or have universal ornaments, so this doesn't really affect me too much. It's for newer players, and it'll make them look kind of cool. The best piece of all of this, though, is that Warlock Duster. They don't have a dress, finally. They finally don't have to wear a dress. Just... I love how this looks. I will actually go get probably the Gambit and maybe even Crucible sets for my Warlock. Even the Vanguard set doesn't look bad there. It's that you don't look like a traffic cone. You don't have, a Zavala tattoo on your ass. It looks decent. I don't hate these armors. This is miles better than the bullshit that we got with Beyond Light.
Yeah, I kind of like the Hunter set, except for like the pants look like just sweatpants. He looks like he walked into
They've given us quite a bit of sweatpants over the last year. It's getting kind of annoying.
I mean,
we got
sweatpants. I don't really pay attention to Hunter sets because I don't play as a Hunter, but like this just looks like
we've gotten a lot of Adidas pants in the last year.
Like the snapaways that you can just rip off.
No, that would actually be hilarious and great. No, I'm talking about the ones that you like. If it's cold and you're wearing basketball shorts at home, but you have to like venture out, the pants you can like kind of pull on over. Mm-hmm. Your shorts, at least that's what I use them for. Yeah. Mine are not snapaways. Nobody needs to see me doing that. But true to my Hunter, that's how I've been dressed, is that and a hoodie for much of the last like 3 months.
You know what? You know what these pants look like though, for real? Remember the mid 2000s, the khaki pants that you could zip off to make shorts?
Oh my god, dude, they went to fucking Dick's Sporting Goods for the pants, and they went to like Buckle for the top.
Yeah.
Oh my god, we look like assholes. Like, dude, there's a fucking pop cut. God, we look like assholes.
Remember those
like this.
Remember those like $160 like hoodies that Ubisoft tried to sell as like Assassin's Creed hoodies?
I do remember.
With like the stiff collars and like the hood that kind of like tucked back in and that you could flip
I'm cosplaying as fucking Ezio.
You are, pretty much.
That's what my Hunter is doing right here.
Mm-hmm. They're just celebrating the Ezio collection coming to Switch this week.
You're gonna run like dog shit too. Returning Crucible maps, Eternity and Vostok return to the Crucible on February 22nd. If you need a reminder, Eternity is the one that is set in unknown space, similar to where it's set in. Eternity, like it says. It is set in Zer's realm, where he hosts his little game show for Dares of Eternity.
Yay!
And Vostok is the one that takes place on Fellwinter's Peak. So everybody hates that map, apparently, except for like me, Johnny, and Bife. the three of us were all very excited on Twitter today. Bife was very excited. Of course, John and I were excited in our own private messages. We cannot wait to use Cloud Strike down the lane on that map.
I don't think that map's that bad. I think it's better than Eternity.
It's definitely better than Eternity. Fuck Eternity.
I hated Eternity.
I hate Eternity. Eternity is my least favorite PvP map, maybe ever in Destiny.
That's not true.
Jesus Christ. I will... No, that is absolutely the worst. Far and away, that is the worst. Eververse, no changes. Interesting explanations here. They had to address this, DMG later clarified on Reddit, because they were getting a lot of questions that there were rumors going around that they were going to reduce bright dust gains and that they were going to reduce the price of things in the shop or increase the price of things in the shop. And he's like, no, nothing is changing. No changes to bright dust acquisition or totals compared to that of season 15. So this current season, it's going to be the same, through the season pass and through your challenges and your vendors and things like that. Players will continue to earn bright dust from seasonal challenges, repeatable bounties at specific vendors, and through the season pass. And then you get a look at this hot new universal ornament set, which I'm going to beg Corey to make our thumbnail for tonight.
The one with the weird looking hunter dude in the middle with the sword.
God damn, this looks hot. I love this armor. I'm going to ignore kind of the goofy looking hunter helmet.
I am shocked that you like this armor.
Without the eyebrows, I think that's actually a pretty great set of armor.
You know what the hunter helmet looks like? It looks like Super Shredder from Secret of the Ooze.
Dude, it looks like an Ultron. It looks like Ultron. It's Ultron with eyebrows. It's like Tony Stark went, how can I ruin James Spader's career more? It's great. I like it. Season pass changes. Oh boy. High stat seasonal armor has been reintroduced to be awarded between ranks 57 and 87. Thank God. I no longer have to go grind out specific seasonal
87?
activities. All the way up to 87. Yes,
Jesus
sir.
Christ.
No, not your total ranks 57 and 87. Not your statistical value.
Oh, your ranks. Oh God, I was going to say,
yes.
What the fuck?
Yes.
I was like, what?
I was wondering why you were reacting that way, and then it clicked.
Never mind.
Legendary Engrams have been replaced. Legendary Engrams have been replaced with focused Umbral Engrams. 5 in total, each focused to a different armor piece. I assume that this will be seasonal armor. And that's probably how you're going to get the seasonal armor to drop. Now, all Umbrals will be at Tier 2. Season Pass emblem has been removed, but we have introduced a Season Pass Sparrow. Ooh. Scrounger bonuses with increased seasonal weapon armor drop chances and ritual activities have been overhauled. Weapon Scrounger bonuses are no longer separated by weapon type or ritual activity. Now apply to both Season Pass legendary weapons and all activities all at once. 2 weapon Scrounger bonuses instead of 6. The first bonus will grant a small chance to receive the weapon from ritual activities. The second bonus gives the improved chance. Total drop chances unchanged from previous seasons. Armor Scrounger bonuses no longer separated by activity, etc., etc. Aside from the emblem, no items have been removed from the Season Pass, only added. A number of rewards such as Glimmer and Legendary Shards have been consolidated to make room for high-stat armor. A small amount of upgrade modules have been added. The order some rewards are acquired has been tuned to accommodate the above changes. Great. Absolutely great. Could we get a tiny bit more Bright Dust in the Season Pass? I don't want to sound too greedy, but could we get a little bit more?
Don't you have enough?
No, I don't. I need to get back over 100k, Corey. I have a mighty need. I have a problem.
God, good thing Bright Dust.
I'm almost back to 90k. I bought a lot of emotes the last few weeks.
Oh my gosh, dude.
The Thrallaway is now gone. It's gone. Fixed an issue where Shadow Thrall and the Shattered Throne were unintentionally granting investment rewards such as Glimmer, Engrams, and XP. As players begin to craft weapons and level up their Season Pass, we want to ensure gameplay rewards are earned by playing and completing activities, bounties, or just hanging out with friends and patrols while defeating minions of the darkness. And then, here we go. The big one. We're so excited for this. Boss Stomps. Adjusted the physics knockback for Boss Stomps. This should result in fewer deaths from being knocked into objects. Thank God. I got yeeted into so many walls in a row last night in Dares of Eternity. It wasn't even funny. 3 times in a row, the same boss. As I got rezzed, I got immediately stomped into a wall and insta-died. I got really tired of the same Guardians coming over to revive me each time.
Stop dying.
Next week we'll have a full roundup. Do what?
Stop dying.
I was trying to stop dying. Next week we'll have a full roundup of patch notes available for you to read through. Time is TBD, but our goal is to give you light reading before launch. That usually means that we get it around, I would say, 7 a.m. Pacific time. So about 10 a.m. Eastern, we should be getting it. We usually get it in like that last 2-hour window prior to an expansion. That's also usually when people like start to be able to data mine what's going to be in the season pass and what's going to be in Eververse and stuff. The data mining, just as a warning, if you don't want to know what some of the rewards are going to be for various activities, what anything looks like, and there will almost certainly be dialogue spoilers going around by the time the game launches, I would advise the second the game goes down on Monday night, you mute a lot of words about Destiny, Bungie, Savathun, Throne World, Raid, etc. Because depending on who you follow and who's like in your sphere, on Twitter especially, you will probably get spoiled on things. There have already been a few things that have been data mined this week in regards to some of the weapons, a couple of which I'm extremely excited about, but I don't want to talk about because they're not actually in the game yet, nor has it been like acknowledged by Bungie itself. It's gained just enough traction to be on Twitter and Reddit. If you want to see them, go look for them. But one of them, when you see it, you will know that is instantly going to become my new favorite primary weapon if you know me at all from talking on this show and know what kind of build I run. I'm very excited. Oh my God, we're almost
By the way,
done.
Speaking of builds, shout out to A1 Johnny who sent me all the Stasis Titan builds, and I've been
yes,
playing around with it.
I'm doing that with our friend Ray right now.
Yeah,
with Stasis and Elemental Well mods.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Give me all these tingly feelings inside.
The Peter tingle, some might call it.
Ooh.
Steel Series is doing a Destiny collaboration with a new headset, a mouse, and a oversized light-up mouse pad. This stuff is hot. The mouse pad is very reminiscent of the original login screen. Mm-hmm. They used to be super duper bright.
For Destiny 2, you're talking about.
Yeah, it used to fucking blind you. But this looks like it. It looks like the cover of my Destiny 1 Steelbook as well. Mm-hmm. I have no shame in admitting that I have already ordered the mouse pad, and I may cave and get the headset. I don't have a PC, so I can't get the mouse.
I kind of want the headset, but also it's probably like, it's not excruciating.
It is so
$60.
$60 for the headset, $70 for the mouse pad, I believe, and $60 for the mouse. I believe are the prices. And each of these come with a special emblem as well.
Why is the mouse pad so much?
It lights up, it plugs in, it's giant, etc. Like, that sucker is going to take up most of my desk when I plug it in.
I mean, it's probably like the big black one I have on my desk now. It probably just, I mean, like you said, it lights up, but like, I don't know, $70, man.
I mean, there's licensing fees and stuff associated with that too.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I'm personally buying this. I really want. I don't have a good mouse pad. I am hoping to see sometime in the near future, and I would really like to have this on my desk. My desk is old and looks bad, and I would really like something to cover that up. Also means that when I accidentally drop things on my desk, they will be muffled a little bit. So, really looking forward to that. They are available for pre-order now. It is a limited collection. So if you want those, I would suggest getting on those. Long Live the Queen Twitch subscription bounty. Back when the 30th anniversary pack went live, we introduced a new Twitch subscription bounty emblem for all players to earn. It's been wonderful seeing so many Dresgit emblems in post-game credit reports and Crucible lobbies. With the release of the Witch Queen, we felt it would be a fun time to introduce a new emblem. Starting at 9 a.m. Pacific on February 22nd, completing the Twitch sub bounty will award players the Long Live the Queen emblem. This is very reminiscent of Void 3.0 mixed with the Throne World. It looks pretty hot. I will be checking out some streamers over the next week and dropping a sub or two if they have the extension enabled with some smaller streamers especially, big ones like Datto, Glad, Astacross, Fallout. I love you guys, but I don't think y'all need my help as much as smaller members of the community do. So look forward to being able to do that. Again, as a reminder, the Witch Queen preload will begin at 7 p.m. Pacific on February 21st. Destiny will be brought offline at 6:45 Pacific. You can do the math to figure out what time that is in your region if you're not in North America. It will be brought back online at 9 a.m. on February 22nd, and it will be playable on all platforms and regions. There is a PS4 PSA here. We talked about it last week, I think. No, we did not. Playing the PS4 version of Destiny 2 will be required to re-download all associated Destiny 2 required content before playing the Witch Queen. This will only be able to be downloaded by launching Destiny 2 after the 4.0.0.1 patch is released.
That sucks so bad.
After all downloads have started, you can safely close the game and required content downloads. Now, it is important to be noted that you can still launch the game when it's offline. You don't have to wait for the Witch Queen to be live. As soon as your pre-download is done, you can do this. It sucks for people with slow internet connections, though. This is going to be a nightmare for them. Yeah. The servers are going to be overloaded. There's over a million pre-orders for this game. I am not looking forward to anybody who has a PS4 having to download this.
Yeah.
PS4 download Destiny 2 and all required content will be large, but players will have a smaller installation size once the download is complete. This should help improve the download and install future PS4 patches, which those patches typically require you to re-download the whole game, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
So that is absolutely terrible. The Wayfinder's Compass rotation mods are rotating on a 2-day rotation from now until the end of the season. It's a little late for them to tell us this now. By the time you're listening to this, the first rotation is completely gone because it started on the 16th. But you still have a chance to grab the last 2 rotations of mods on the 18th and on the 20th, respectfully. Bungie Rewards went over that last week. Gift sub bounties, just talked about that. You guys know about the content vaulting. And, man, I think that is that's about it here. That's it. That is it for this week's TWAB. Go fucking team. It's huge. It's a lot there. Definitely encourage you guys to go read through it on your own. Like always, whenever we have a very big TWAB like that. But we're gonna move into our last thing. I wanted to kind of reminisce about the year here at the end, but I wanted to do it in a fun way. I know we've been going for quite a while already. We've been going for a little over an hour. So I want to make this brief, but I also want this to kind of be a celebration of where we've gone in the last year. And some of our favorite things. I came up with the first ever Tower Casual Ghosties Awards.
The Ghosties.
The Ghosties. I was trying to think of something better, and I couldn't. And so this is what you got as a result of my sleep-deprived brain.
You could have called them the Bungies.
I didn't want to call them the Bungies, because then that would imply that I'm going to talk about other Bungie games, and I'm just not.
I mean, we have talked quite a bit of Halo on this show.
We have talked quite a bit of Halo, and hopefully we will not be talking about Halo for a long while on this show now.
Well,
so we have
343 doesn't think you're going to be talking about Halo for a long time either. Apparently.
Talk about that one. We have some fun categories here. We're going to go through. I didn't really do these in any sort of specific order. But figure as we go through this, if we have any discussion to be had, some of these things we've talked about ad nauseum, so we're just going to kind of fly through them. But other ones are kind of room for some introspection. And of course, we're going to close it out with the lore awards at the very end of the year, at the very end of this list. So let's get to it. Some of these will vary from like 3 to 6 nominees for each one. Depending on what I could come up with. And I really didn't solicit too much input on this. Something I just kind of wanted to put together. I was laying awake thinking, man, this would be really cool. It would be really cool to do something like this for Destiny. For those of you who don't know him, Khalif Adams over at Spawn on Me did an awesome thing called the Spawnies a few weeks ago. He worked for several months putting it together, had a lot of high-end production value. This is not that, but that did encourage me to think of doing our own Tower Casual Awards and to put a lot more preparation and work into this next year. If anybody wants to make some fan art of Ghost in a tuxedo with like a monocle and a top hat, I would love you forever.
Let's do it. Somebody do it.
Somebody do it, and I'll give you $10 in silver. That's all my budget can allot right now. But I will. I'm kidding. I will buy. I will genuinely give you a pack of silver if you give us some awesome fan art. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. Best story beat of the year. Savathun's impersonation of Osiris, The Journey of the Crow, The Alliance with Keitel and her Empire, the bromance between Saint 14 and Mithrax, and of course, Lakshmi's coup of the Tower leadership. Corey, what's your pick for this one?
I mean, I think the obvious one is Saint 14 and Mithrax. I mean, between us.
The Homer answer from a Titan. I've been playing through the Splicer storyline with our friend Ray and trying to get him caught up on everything. We're probably going to finish up Aegir Scepter tonight after the show, actually, as his final thing. But I'm inclined to agree with you. I think the cutscene is really cool. I think that they gave us the story of the Saint.
I mean, besides the cutscenes and stuff, like especially that final one where they're like back to back, like
incredible.
But like
incredible,
the turn of you see Saint 14, you know, I mean, essentially he's like a Elixir racist, you know, until you know this is the point where he turns and now he's his buddy with Mithrax is like, that's an amazing story to tell, you know? And I think that that's a powerful one, especially what we kind of all went through in the last few years, you know, as a society. Like that's like a majorly great. I mean, we had a whole episode on like how Destiny kind of tackled racism better than anyone. Right.
Yeah, it's funny that a game involving space wizards, pyramid ships, and a gigantic ball tackled xenophobia and racism.
You forgot the creepy lady with the 3 green eyes.
Forgot about her. Forgot about the meat puppet called Osiris. Space dragons. There's space dragons in this game too that talk, but they don't talk out loud. They talk in your mind. There's a whole bunch of wacky shit in this game, and somehow it tackled those themes better than just about any other game that I've played in the last couple of years. Which I think is a testament to the diversity that Bungie has gotten that writers in the last couple of years. And I mean, I know that we're talking about this on the backside of the IGN report from December from Rebecca Valentine about the issues at Bungie. But that there seem to be some genuinely good people there who are trying to drive the studio and the narrative into much more positive places and into much more progressive spaces. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're able to, you may call it, they have an agenda. And well, I mean, the agenda is equality. The agenda is that every person is a person. That, you deserve to be who you are unapologetically. Unless you're a fucking racist, and then, in which case, goodbye. You're racist, you're a homophobe, transphobe, but there's no place for you in this community or at that studio. So, not going to get up on my preachy high horse again. We've had too many of those talks on this show over the last year. Last 2 years, really, since we started Tower Casuals. But I'm almost inclined to agree with you on Saint 14 and Mithrax. I think that's the funnest story beat for me.
Yeah.
I think
that cutscene is the best.
Man, it's so hard. Like, I think all of these are great.
I'm just saying, if Numbskull, Numbskull's been doing those awesome 12-inch statues. Which, by the way, finally pre-ordered my Cade one. By the way,
I haven't ordered my Cade one yet. I have too many other things that are like $70 that I have to buy from Bungie right now.
Yeah. So, but if they don't give me one, that's like $120 of Saint 14 and Mithrax back to back like that.
Oh, dude, I would cry. I would cry. That would just be the absolute best.
That's all I'm saying.
The absolute best. Oh my God, they're going to hear you, and I'm going to spend more money. My pick is either Savathun impersonating Osiris or The Journey of Crow. I don't think any of us expected to be as moved by Crow's journey as we were. Obviously, we've covered both of these in extreme detail. That's why I said some of these we're going to try and fly through. But I think my pick ultimately comes down to Crow's journey, specifically the Hawkmoon quest, is absolutely incredible. Crow is the second Guardian to ever truly hear from the Traveler. that we know of. The speaker finally heard from the Traveler in his dying moments. But Crow is the only other one besides us to ever get visions from the Traveler themselves that we know of. And that's pretty significant in and of itself. I mean, that hints that he may be the leader of the city in the future. Maybe he's the tower commander in Destiny 3. Who knows? Favorite legendary seasonal drop. So what's a seasonal drop? That is a legendary weapon that you can get from Hunt, Splicer, Lost, or Chosen. I tried to pick a weapon from each season here. Sorry, Season of the Lost. Yeah, well, I mean, Season of the Lost got one, but I don't think that it did. I don't think that either you or I really liked the weapons from Lost. No. This is our awards show.
They were. I mean, they were fine. They weren't anything to remember, right? It's no Chroma Rush, you know.
Well, it's funny that you say that. First on our list is Chroma Rush. Threaded Needle, the Season of the Chosen linear fusion rifle. This will not be the last time that you hear me talk about this one tonight. Deafening Whisper, the breech-loaded grenade launcher from Season of the Hunt. I had to have something from Hunt in here, and I don't feel great about this pick.
Why? You don't have to.
I had to.
You don't have to, Josh.
Grid Skipper from Season of the Splicer, the 540 Void Pulse that you can get. Code Duello from Season of the Chosen. And Wolftone Draw, the bow from Season of the Lost. I think that Corey's reaction when I started introing all this kind of gives away what both of ours pick is here. I feel like it's got to be Chroma Rush.
I mean, Chroma Rush is good, but you get a Code Duello with cluster bombs on it. It's pretty good.
One better. You get a Code Duello with Impulse Amplifier and Lasting Impression with those Wolfpack rounds now.
Yeah.
So it hits. And then when it blows up, then the Wolfpack rounds trigger.
Yeah,
it's already the highest EPS legendary rocket launcher in the game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If anybody's running Gallahorn with you, that's going to become.
I think I'm going selfishly based on aesthetic here.
Yeah,
honestly, I think Splicer overall had my favorite aesthetic of the whole.
Yeah, those weapons were
in terms
cool.
of the weapons. They felt like they really were like kind of like kit bashed together by Mithrax's Group of Fallen. I really, really like these. But everything had its own distinct feel, I think, which I really liked. Do we have anything else on these?
No,
I feel like these first couple we can just kind of fly through.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chroma Rush is like, it's great. As an auto rifle connoisseur, sir.
Yes. Chroma Rush carries me through a lot of high-end content. I'm looking forward to being able to do weapon crafting, but trust me, Chroma Rush will be in my arsenal for the day one pyramid raid. Favorite season of the year? I'm going to let Corey answer this first, because I have a feeling I may have a different answer than him. So in terms of, like, take everything into account. The weapon suite, the armor designs, the activities, the story beats, the characters we focused on, things like that. Take all that into consideration here.
Man, I mean, Chosen was pretty good. Battlegrounds is a pretty cool event. But also, like, Splicer had the coolest looking levels, the coolest looking weapons. The armor was pretty cool, especially when you got the ornaments for them.
Oh, the ornaments completely changed the look of them instead of just upgrading the look. Totally different.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to go Splicer. I mean, the event wasn't the best. I would give that to Battlegrounds, but everything else was, like, real solid.
There's a reason why Battlegrounds is sticking around in the Vanguard Operations playlist, right?
Yeah.
We were not so different then. My pick is Splicer. I thought for sure you were going to go with Chosen. Nobody in their right mind is choosing Season of the Hunt.
If you say you like the Wrathborn hunts, you're lying. You're a liar.
There's a category later on that I deliberately removed Wrathborn hunts from after I wrote it out, and then I was forced to do a couple the other night because I was trying to get a very specific roll on something, and I was like, Christ, this is bad. Yeah, I'm gonna go Splicer as well. I think what override may have lacked. I actually didn't mind the overrides. I minded the insane grind to get to level 30 with the Servitor before the end of the season so that I could get my title. I did mind that get my seal pin. Really, I did mind that. But I think what Override may have lacked in variety, it made up for with the Override Last City mission and the expunges. I'm actually very sad to see expunge go. I kind of wish that like we could at least keep expunge Delphi in as a strike, add a bunch more enemies into it, and I think that could be a viable strike. I would love to see that thing on Grandmaster difficulty. That would be the most absurd thing that I've ever seen in this game, I think. It would be Corrupted 2.0, but as they say, just because something's vaulted doesn't mean it's gone forever. I think there is hope that maybe we get a greatest of playlist down the line, and maybe that's brought back. Favorite new perk introduced over the course of this year. I solicited some input for this one from everybody's favorite Titan, A1 Johnny. He had to help me out. I had to call up my weapons master. I have to go back through his lit. He sent me gigantic explanations about all of his choices at like 2 a.m. A couple of nights ago, and I got to tell you something. I was not expecting all of his choices here, but he and I kind of thought along the same lines. So let's go ahead and get to them. Favorite new perks: Impulse Amplifier, Lasting Impression, Frenzy, Perpetual Motion, Headstone, and then I wanted to pick one of John. John had Headstone and Lasting Impression on his. I am going with Chain Reaction. It's not technically new. It is a universal perk for the first time ever. It rolls on swords, grenade launchers, rocket launchers. It's absurdly fun. I think out of this list, Headstone kind of comes in at the last minute to take it. I think if we had done this even 3 months ago, if we had done this before the anniversary event, I think I would have said Lasting Impression. But man, Headstone and Perpetual Motion came in really fast at the end of the year.
Perpetual Motion, dude, was like, I mean, that changed everything.
That's a pretty game changing perk for me.
Yeah. But Headstone is...
I'm going Headstone. Headstone is really the first perk that I think is meant to work with the 3.0 subclasses, specifically with Stasis. If that is a peak at what we can expect in future updates for like Void, Solar, and Arc based perks, holy shit, I can't wait to see. Like maybe you get a headshot on something in the future, and if you're running an Arc subclass, boom, an Arc web shoots out.
Well, that could even be like damage over time, right? Like, I mean, that could be like a really good perk to have on weapons for damage over time, because like there's not a lot of that in Destiny at all. So
no, they're usually built into the Weapons of Sorrow.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. I really, really, really like Headstone, though. I'm excited that it is coming. If you haven't watched any videos of the preview that was given to content creators a few weeks ago, at this point, I'd probably say just go in dark, but I will reveal one thing that Dado talked about in his, and that was a craftable Stasis SMG that had Headstone as a perk. I have never been more excited for a weapon in my life in Destiny, knowing that I can craft that with Headstone and how that plays into the build I'm currently running on my Hunter. With those new Hunter gauntlets, I'm so excited. I'm like quadrupling down on Stasis for PvE and PvP right now. Don't get me wrong, Peacebound is cool to have Headstone on, but having that on an SMG, like in a room of Thrall or Scions,
right,
or Dregs, like, oh my god, this is getting that amazing.
Yeah, getting that on a Pulsar and SMG is going to be like huge.
I left off a perk that I think a lot of people probably expected to hear about here. I left Eager Edge off of this because, yes, it's a very fun perk. It's hilarious to see the videos, the sword lunges. It's more wacky than Halo has ever been. I left it off, though, just because simply, like, it doesn't have a huge use as an actual perk outside of trying to speedrun through things or flying across Crucible levels. Yeah. So I personally left it off of this list. If we talked about funnest perk, though, that and Chain Reaction would be neck and neck for me. Chain Reaction on a sword is fucking bonkers to see. It can roll on the dungeon sword, and that is just wild.
Yeah.
I love that. But moving right along, favorite game updates. I think there's a few ones here. So the Season 16 Trials Revamp.
That
The
was a great
30th
one.
anniversary mega update that we got.
Also a good one.
Probably the biggest sandbox change we've ever gotten in the game. The introduction of elemental well builds, which I think we're all finally starting to grasp a little bit more. It seems like with Lost, they really refined those coming out of Splicer, especially with Stasis. So I made sure I bought every single mod I could for the upcoming 3.0 subclasses. Highly encourage you to go do that at those vendors if you have not done so already. The customization of Stasis through the aspects and fragments, I think it's been a big one. And as we talked, of course, perks like Headstone. Moving acquisition of new exotics to the legendary Lost sectors. And making legendary Lost sectors a permanent thing rather than a limited time thing that we did during Season of the Worthy. The one good thing that ever came out of that season. And gilded seals. So you can keep re-earning things like your Dredgen and your Dredgen, Unbroken, Deadeye is a new seal introduced this season that you can already gild. Things like that. If I had to pick, man, it's really hard because I think for me it comes down to if the customization of Stasis doesn't work, we probably don't get subclass 3.0. But the Trials updates literally saved that mode. That mode was really close to being taken out permanently. Just like I would say Gambit was pretty much on death's door also until today's update.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I give this one to Stasis.
Yeah, man, it's
all of these updates are so good though, and are in their own ways game changing.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the 30th anniversary update, though, too.
For the sandbox, yeah. I agree.
I think I'm going to go with that, actually.
That's fair.
Just because, I don't know, Titan Stasis stuff, as great as, the build is and how I think it's going to change drastically in the coming weeks and months, right? Stasis, to me, just felt like Striker Titan with ice again. And yeah. I just wasn't.
I agree. That. I'm definitely playing on probably the class that allows you the most customization.
Yeah.
With it right now and the most fluid perk combinations. There's no reason for me to run anything else. If I'm the only hunter, there's no reason for me to run anything else right now. I'm hoping that changes next week with Void 3.0. That I now have a variety of things to choose from in the in-game. 3 out of 4 isn't bad.
Yeah.
If I can run Stasis, a Void, or Golden Gun, cool. There's something for everybody. The more hunters you have, the more variation you can have, obviously.
Right.
I just think, obviously, we need to see how the subclass 3.0 pans out, but I think right now that's my pick. I may have a different answer later on in the year.
Yeah.
I'd love to see how much I'm cursing out. God damn it. We let Stasis do all this, so now everybody else is running around with all this bullshit.
Right.
I have a feeling I'll be saying that the first time I play Trials here in a few weeks. So for right now, my pick is Stasis, and Corey's is the anniversary update.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite new activity of the year. These are all pretty much seasonal activities. I didn't really pick anything because, I didn't think that the Exo Challenge or Empire Hunts were things that we really wanted to think about again.
Empire Hunts were bad.
They fucking suck.
I hate those things.
They fucking suck.
I stopped, after it was, there's a couple things that required you to do them, early on, and I did those, and I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing any more of these. I love Varix. I hope Varix gets a bigger role at some point, but Empire Hunts suck. They suck balls.
Dude, I got that email from Bungie. I had 28 or 29 of them that I've done because it took me 25-ish runs to get Cloud Strike. I had the worst RNG in the world. This is all payback for me getting all of my Lost Sector exotics on the first or second try and for getting Vex on the first try. This was the game's payback for me. Was here you go. You took so long getting Cloud Strike. Everybody else has it. They're making fun of you. We're going to give you Vex on day one. So for me, favorite new activity, and this is the one I left Ratborn Hunts off of. Presage, Harbinger, the Deepstone Crypt, the Grasp of Avarice, Dares of Eternity, and Expunge Delphi.
Oh, I think Presage.
I think that we're both gonna. Yeah, I think we're both in agreement. It's Presage, and I don't think we need to go into any detail on that. You can listen to any of our many.
If you haven't played it, play it. You have 4 days to play it. Play it. Yeah. Do it. Even do the easy one. Who cares?
Play it. Yeah, I've been playing through it myself again lately. Still trying to get an absolute god roll of Warple Weapon. Mm-hmm. Dead Man's and getting some extra rolls for some of our lower level friends.
Yeah,
go do it. I don't think this even requires any more any more explanation. So we're just gonna move on. Best seasonal activity: Battlegrounds, Expunge, Override, Astral Alignment, and the Shattered Realm. Again, I think Corey and I are pretty in agreement on which one this is.
Battlegrounds.
For me, it comes down to, like, I love the aesthetic of Expunge, but doing those again, like having to do them all in a row, to do all the corrupted, and do overrides in between while we were marathoning the Splicer story,
right?
Man, it really fucking got old. Astral Alignment, no. Override, no. Shattered Realm is the only one that competes with this for me. I think Shattered Realm, with all the secrets in it, was very unique. And it required you replaying it. I just didn't like that you had to clear them like 3 different times because, you got to find all the secrets and you can't do it the first week. So you have to do it the second time it comes around. And when the third time comes around, you have to go do it on Legendary. I was done. I was done. I've done these things so many times now that I hate them. I hate them. It's got to be Battlegrounds for me. Mm-hmm. They're being added to the playlist for a reason.
Yeah. The only thing about Battlegrounds is like they're just like a little bit too long. But
they're too long to be a seasonal activity, but I would say they're just long enough to be strikes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good, like, strike. Like, if you're, like, wanting to do strikes but wanting to do something else, that's what you do. And I think that's smart that they're putting them in the playlist.
Yeah. Next, the best end-of-season mission. The Hunt of the High Celebrant. The Proving Grounds, Override Last City, or the Exorcism of Savathun. I'm going to go ahead and eliminate Proving Grounds off this.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Proving Grounds, and I'm going to take the High Celebrant. I did that mission like 7 times this week, trying in vain one final time to get the fucking ship, and I can't do it, of course. So it will go unclaimed. I have done that mission at least 30 times, I would say, since it came out, and never got the ship to drop. Insanely frustrated about it. Here's the thing. Override Last City, without, and I want to take this in the context without the cutscenes with these associated missions.
Yeah.
It's just another Override.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's got some awesome dialogue during it, but you're not actually fighting with Saint and Mithrax and Zavala and Ikora.
Like, if you're taking the story and the cutscene out of it, like, it's just another Override. It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
For me, it's weird. Like, I think it's the Exorcism of Savathun. Maybe that's recency bias, but I think, like, as an actual mission, that's the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, Saint getting involved is awesome.
Yeah.
That boosts me.
Yeah.
That boosts my opinion that Saint gets involved.
Yeah.
Favorite new exotic of the year. Lament, Tiku's Divination, Dead Man's Tale, Aeger's Scepter, or the Forerunner.
I mean, Forerunner was cool, but I don't see myself ever, like, using it, you know?
Yep, I agree.
I think Dead Man's Tale is probably it's the one that I like the most out of all of these.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite one to use. I think my favorite one in execution is Aeger's Scepter.
Yeah.
That is an absolutely wild gun.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. The ones that out of those that I like to use, I think Dead Man's Tale is definitely the one that I think it's the most.
I would agree Dead Man's
especially if you get that god roll on it, it's just, oh my gosh, it's awesome.
Favorite pursuit weapon. Of course, pursuit weapon is defined as the ones you had to earn from the vendors over the course of the year. Our choices are Adored, Salvager Salvo, Null Composure, and Ascendancy. I'm going Salvager Salvo.
Yeah, that's what I was going to pick too. It's
Chain Reaction is just so much fun on that gun.
Yeah.
With Ambitious Assassin.
Yeah.
It's great. It's absolutely great. I love it. It is such a useful weapon for ad clear. I like Null Composure, but I feel like Null Composure only got good because of the changes they made this season. It was not actually good in its debut season.
Yeah.
And Particle Deconstruction definitely helps that gun.
Yeah.
I like Ascendancy. I actually use Ascendancy quite a bit, but I think I still slightly prefer... Because if I'm not picking up orbs, I'm not doing my maximum amount of damage with it, with Explosive Light. I still prefer to use my Godworld Coduello instead, and then Adored. I'm not a sniper, but it's still pretty close to a top tier sniper. It's like an A level. It's not S tier, but it's like A tier maybe, like lower A tier. It's a great sniper. It'll get you out of a lot of jams.
Yeah,
I guess Salvagers is it for me here.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, best character arc of the year. Elsie Bray, Savathun, Saint 14, Crow, Keitel, or Mithrax?
Oh my gosh! I mean, man, it has to be.
It comes down to two. It comes down to two for me.
I feel like it has to come down between Crow and Saint, right? I feel like.
Oh, okay. We're different then.
Are we?
Okay.
Like, figuring out, like, quote unquote, finding out who Stranger was in Elsie Bray, right? Like, that was such a cool kind of conclusion to that.
That was a cool fan theory that we suspected for so long already.
Yeah. Like, that was cool, but it didn't really play into, like... I mean, the Stranger could still just be a time-traveling guardian without being Elsie Bray, and it's wouldn't, like... her being Elsie Bray has no effect on the story, at least at the moment. Right.
I mean, I think it had much more of an impact on the lore, if anything.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I would agree she's definitely lower on my list. For me, it comes down to Crow or Savathun.
Yeah, I mean, like...
The twist of learning that Savathun was Osiris was so fucking wild when it actually happened.
Yeah.
We had our suspicions in Chosen when the Crown of Sorrow was found, and Osiris was like, "Don't you touch it! I'm coming to get it." We had our suspicions then, and then it was confirmed in Splicer. And I think, because I debated if I was going to put Savathun or Osiris on here, but knowing that it was Savathun the whole time, the events of Season of the Lost, the events of Presage, even like reading some of the lore cards, it just hits so differently now knowing that that was Savathun the whole time.
Yeah.
And then you have Crow's Journey. There's a reason why I thought that was the best story, one of the best story beats of the year. Man, I go Savathun.
Man, I've kind of forgot about some of the things that we talked about, like the song being sung in the city, and then we saw the blights in the tower where nobody seemed to notice except for us.
That's still one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
I know. There's just one floating in between. There's literally a blight floating between Zavala and Shax, and it's just like, whoa. What can I do for you,
Saint
Guardian?
and Mithrax have a cool story together, I think, and I think the cutscene with Saint is arguably the cutscene of the year.
Yeah. Where
he's finally told the truth by Mithrax, how they view him. But I don't know. Like, I think he has a really solid character arc, but his unfolded largely over the course of a season. And it was cool to finally see Mithrax in the flesh and things like that outside of 0 Hour, but the Savathun and Crow storylines took place over an entire year. It took us 15 months to get through their stories. And I don't know, like, it's pretty clear that their stories are going to continue on into the next expansion also, whereas Elsie's going to sit on the sidelines. Keitel, I mean, I would even put Keitel arguably in third place. She goes from, wanting to dominate us and us to serve her to being a begrudging ally against Savathun. Now, I fully think that she'll turn against us in the future.
Yeah.
But for right now, the peace is there. I don't think you can go wrong with any choice between Savathun, Crow, Keitel, or Saint. I think they've all had. I think Mithrax is a little behind them, and then Elsie is a distant final spot.
Yeah.
I almost didn't include her on here, but I neglected a ton of Beyond Light stuff when I started looking at it.
Yeah. Man, I don't know, man. It's always hard to pick, like, the big bad, though, because, like, like, that Like, even though you don't know what the twist is, you know that there's some sort of twist there.
This is also, I would also say this in defense of the pick of Savathun, this is the longest we've ever had a major antagonist in the universe.
Yeah.
Oryx we heard whispers of during Crota, and then boom, he was here and we killed him.
Yeah.
Savathun they've been building up to. I mean, yeah, we had the Books of Sorrow and everything. We had Savathun's song as a strike. But really, we've known since the events of the Dreaming City corruption that she's coming.
Mm-hmm.
We've been building to this for, God, just at least in Destiny 2 since Forsaken.
Yeah.
Really, you can say we've been building to it since the Books of Sorrow.
Yeah.
So, and I think she's lived up to the hype so far.
Yeah.
Even without stealing the light.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think you've changed my mind on this, Josh.
I'm not trying to change anyone's mind.
No, I'm not saying you're doing it on purpose. I'm just saying, like, I think you are. So, Savathun, man. You know what? I'm going to go with Savathun.
Savathun.
Ooh.
Best new exotic armor. Fair warning, I picked 2 from each class to make it to avoid making it a lopsided choice. I think really everybody other than like Warlocks had several good pieces you could have put on this list. I think Titans and Hunters definitively each had 2 that you could put on here. And I'm taking into account the current state of said exotic. If it's been nerfed into the ground, it's being treated as it was nerfed into the ground, not how it was when it was OP. So that means for Hunters, the list was pretty small here. I couldn't use Star Eaters or Radiant Dance Machines. So without further ado, Curious of the Falling Star, Mantle of Battle Harmony, Omnioculus, Mask of Baccharis, Necrotic Grips, and Precious Scars. Man, I have to give mine to Mantle of Battle Harmony. Just the way that has affected Warlock build crafting.
Yeah.
When you're running a well, you're running stasis, etc. Like if you're running Aegers, you absolutely want to have that on there. Just let your super get drained, get your turn constantly refreshing abilities. Falling Star is cool because it made Thundergeet finally worth using in PvE.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it's an amazing exotic. It's probably my number 2 pick on this list. But man, Mantle of Battle Harmony has gone from being something that was just like, oh, this looks kind of cool to, fuck, this is actually kind of essential.
Yeah.
If you play a Warlock, you absolutely owe it to yourself to have that. That is one of the most valuable pieces of Warlock armor.
Yeah.
I would say the 3 chest pieces on this list actually are probably the 3 most essential chest pieces for those respective. Well, Warlocks also have Phoenix Protocol, but
yeah,
they're arguably the 3 most important chest pieces for those respective classes.
Yeah.
For endgame content or for high-end PvE.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just depends on what class you main is what.
It absolutely does.
Like the Titan chess piece, like for me, is like the chess piece, right? I mean,
right.
It makes running Striker Titan like not a slog.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It made Striker Titan finally viable in PvE. And I think when something changes the way that we play classes, that has to be taken into consideration. And that's why, like, for me, I was going to give it the Falling Star, and then I remembered Battle Harmony and just like how essential that's been for our Warlocks with some of these mods.
Yeah.
So I give it the Battle Harmony personally. What's your pick, Corey?
Falling Stars, I think.
Falling Star. Got you. All right, we're going to move on to Best Design. Best Designed Activity. Deepstone Crypt, Grasp of Avarice, The Dares of Eternity, Expunge, or The Shattered Realm. For me, I think, and when we talk about design, I don't mean like how the activity plays. I mean just like how does it look in general. It's really hard for me not to give this automatically to the Deepstone Crypt or to the Shattered Realm. I think those two are neck and neck, like a 1A, 1B choice here.
Yeah.
I think the other 3 are...
Well, I think when you go into Deepstone Crypt and you go do the spacewalk...
And see, that is the only thing I think that puts Deepstone Crypt up there for me is the spacewalk.
Yeah.
With the Deepstone Lullaby playing, the way your guns sound out there, the way you're moving around, like that you're jumping, is man, it's incredible. That's probably my favorite sequence of the whole year. My favorite encounter of the whole year is the spacewalk.
Yeah.
God, I would say this would be between Expunge and Shattered Realm if the Spacewalk did not exist.
Yeah.
I should have just put the Spacewalk, because I'll give it to the Spacewalk straight up. And I mean, I've blabbered on at length about how I love the Aesthetic in Expunge and in the Shattered Realm. The Shattered Realm's secrets are what make me want to choose that.
Yeah.
But man, it's really hard to beat that Spacewalk with the music. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I think that's my pick. The Deepstone Crypt Spacewalk has to be it for me.
Yeah.
And I think the Sparrow Race at the beginning is also very unique.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's maddening, but it's
it's an interesting thing to add, right? I mean, it's not being chased by a wall of fire, like Scourge of the Past, but it is something.
Well, this next one is probably my favorite one that we get to talk about tonight. Because I think that I wanted to come up with a funny category. I was really struggling for something funny to think of when I couldn't fall asleep, and I'd been up for about 30 hours.
Jesus.
I went with most maddening grind. Having to grind a god-rolled threaded needle 2 seasons after you deleted stacks upon stacks of them during Chosen. That's all that dropped during Chosen when I was trying to get a code to Wello, and oh man, it really hurts my heart knowing that I probably deleted the god roll so many times. I still have not gotten a god roll. I probably will not. I have at least have one with Warple now, but I probably will not get one with a god roll before we go into the next expansion, unfortunately. The High Celebrant mission for that fucking exotic ship. The raid exotics, Vex Mythoclast and Eyes of Tomorrow. I'm just going to lump them both in here. We have friends who have done 20, 30 runs of each and still have yet to get Vex or Eyes of Tomorrow.
You saw, it took Destin Legary like 59 runs to get it.
Yeah, and then 59. I feel bad that I got it on my first drop, and it is my second most used exotic ever behind Jotun.
Yeah,
it's worth noting that a lot of those are from PvE. Jotun was from PvP.
Yeah.
Getting to rank 16 with Zur.
Oh God, yeah, that's
literally any of the Gilded Seals outside of Deadeye. 50 Gambit wins, going flawless on every map in Trials, doing every Nightfall on Grandmaster difficulty in a given season. A1 Johnny is struggling to get his done right now. We'll have an update for you on next Thursday's episode if he manages to gild it. The last thing he was able to do the Corrupted, but he's really, really struggling hard right now with the Proving Grounds, specifically that boss fight. And then I think the last thing on this list that we have to mention, this is just kind of in here as a little jab, the Deepstone Crypt Sparrow Race after they fixed the invincibility.
Oh, God.
I will never again get anybody the Sparrow in Deepstone Crypt because it is way too much work for us to get 6 pikes there without them getting destroyed.
Yeah, gross.
It is too much work and it is not worth it.
Nope. For a Sparrow, especially, gross.
Man, I'm really tempted, in my heart of hearts, I want to be selfish and say it's the High Celebrant ship or the God-rolled Threaded Needle Chase. But I'm gonna stand in solidarity with our friends who have done a couple dozen runs of each raid and have not gotten the exotics. Something's got to be done about these fucking drop rates. It's terrible. That is one of my major complaints with the game right now is it's so bad. It's to the point where everybody's begging for a quest-based raid exotic now. Instead of something left to RNG because it's just so bad. We've been complaining about this since 1K.
Yeah.
1K, Anarchy, and Teraba all had horrible drop rates until we were well into Shadowkeep. And clearly we didn't learn anything from the reception of the Divinity quest. So I would rather have a quest like Divinity where I have to go in and do the raid again with extra puzzles to get it at the end. But I'm guaranteed the exotic then if I suffer through that.
Yeah.
If it's too hard for me now, I can come back in 2 months, right?
Yeah.
I would much rather have that personally.
Or even you could even do a Touch of Malice type quest for it.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
The what was the shotgun for Leviathan? Legend of Arceus or something? Acreus. Yeah. So I don't know. I think these drop rates are like, I mean, you just see people struggling, like just suffering through stuff that they don't like. I mean, maybe they like the raid. I'm not saying they don't like it, but like once you get into like 20 and 30 runs of a raid, you expect to get something, you know? So, man.
Yeah, so I go with exotic drops. That's got to be it.
Yeah, I mean that's clearly the winner. At this point.
Best PvE endgame weapon that can drop, and this isn't necessarily the meta one that can drop. These are ones that we personally enjoy. I did put several on here. It bothers me so much that I have three. Three of my 6 on here are all hand cannons, and I really just hate myself for it.
Do you?
I really do. Because I don't like hand cannons. But Adept Palindrome, Adept Hung Jury, Time Lost Fatebringer, Darkest Before, AS Luna, and I wanted to represent Deepstone Crypt in some way. I have Succession on here from Deepstone Crypt. Out of all of these, I mean, I think I know what both of us are going to choose, and it's Adept Hung Jury.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That's got to be it.
I think the only it's like the only one that I actually tried to grind for.
Yeah. I mean, getting the God rolled Adept Hung Jury. I mean, I have Box Breathing and God, I forget what else I have on it. But I have Box Breathing and something else on mine, and it's just so. Oh, Box Breathing Explosive Payload, I think is what I have on mine.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. I have Subsistence Firefly on another one. I am very prepared for Scout Rifles to be anti-champion weapons again in a couple of days.
God knows I have enough Scout Rifles in my vault. Jeez.
My runner-up personally is I do really like Darkest Before. And I mean, if I was going to pick a hand cannon out of these, it would be AS Luna. AS Luna is arguably the best hand cannon in the game right now, with Fatebringer being very close. And I will always have a soft spot for Succession. I got a great roll in my very first one, and I take that into so much high-end content now.
Yeah.
So as far as a primary sniper goes, I don't know if you can get much better than Succession personally, without going to like Izanagi's Burden. Best PvP endgame weapon. We're getting here towards the end of the list. I've got 4 more after this. PvP endgame is, of course, defined as anything that is Trials or Iron Banner. I have the Messenger, Shayura's Wrath, Reed's Regret, the Multi-Mock SMG, Peace Bond, and Igneous Hammer. Obviously, a lot of showing out from Trials weapons here. Man, much as I love... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, remember how much we talked about Reed's Regret when it came out? And, like, we were talking about the God rolls on that thing and how people were just, like, annihilating people with it?
It's still arguably the best legendary DPS in the game right now.
Yeah.
That will drop once Particle Deconstruction is out, but it'll still be a very, very solid weapon to use. Encourage you to still get one. All of these weapons should be in your inventories by now. The Multi-Mock is probably the hardest of any of these to get to drop because you can't just sit there and dump engrams repeatedly. And Peace Bond will at least stay in the game past Tuesday. But Igneous and Multi-Mock are both leaving, as well as our pick from the previous list, Hung Jury. Hung Jury is also leaving.
Sad face.
A very sad face. My pick here is selfishly it's Messenger. I have not used a primary like that since my Blast Furnace from Black Armory. I love pulse rifles. Them and scouts are my favorite thing to use in my primary slot. But God, my Messenger has carried me through so much this year, and especially once I got an Adept Messenger earlier this season with Rapid Hit Frenzy, it's just been incredible. That's been what I've been using this whole time.
Yeah.
So I would say that in terms of my own personal build, Peace Bond absolutely has to be in the discussion for me, though.
Yeah, I agree with you. I got when Trials was when they revamped Trials, I went in and got a Messenger.
You dumped 6 engrams really quickly.
Yeah, and I got a Messenger, and I fell in love with the Messenger like instantly. Anytime I went into PvP, I used a Messenger, and I mean Peace Bond is great. I love Peace Bond, and that's what I was using until I got a Messenger. Because I had Headstone on it, and I love it, but Messenger, man, is just, it's an all-time great weapon for sure.
All-time great weapon. Content we are saddest to see leave that will be vaulted. We've talked about so many of these. Presage, Harbinger, the Fallen Nightclub Lost Sector on the Tangled Shore. Still the best Lost Sector in the entire game. Last Call, the opening mission of Forsaken. And I would say the entire character of Spider.
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't get some kind of, like, resolution for him.
There's a lore piece. He has asked the Drifter to smuggle him out of the reef because Mara is back. It was a piece of lore from earlier this season. I don't remember exactly what it was on, but I was reading it today. He is being smuggled out of the reef by Drifter. So Spider's story is not over quite yet. I would not be shocked to see us deal with Spider later this year, though, on Mara's orders and Drifter just hand him over and be like, yeah, take him. I don't care.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, maybe a new Prison of Elders could come around.
Oh, my gosh, dude. Don't tease me.
What if we fought Spider and he's sitting in Tannix's chair?
Oh, no. What if he just turned into Tannix 2.0?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What if he ate Tannix?
We have to kill Spider repeatedly, too.
Oh, my God. Spider's the new Tannix.
I go...
Did you get that? Did you get that thing I sent you the other day, by the way?
I did. I hate you. I refuse to fight Tannix again. I also like Joe Blackburn's explanation of the only NFTs he'll ever allow in Destiny, and it's new fights with Tannix.
Nice. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I go with Presage.
Oh, yeah. Presage is the easy answer.
I think it has to be Presage.
Presage
is the easy answer.
As sad as I like that opening level of Forsaken is great, and like I'm sad that the campaign is leaving. Just like it seems like a lot of
people. And that's the special shout out I wanted to give, because I think if we had put an entire campaign in there, it would have been easy to say, oh, it's the Forsaken campaign easily. Mm-hmm. It's easily the Forsaken campaign, because that's the only thing that's leaving from Forsaken is the campaign and the Tangled Shore.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's a whole bunch of seasonal stuff, and I really wish there was a way to keep Presage and Harbinger around as strikes. And there's unfortunately, I guess, not a way to do that right now. I think that part of it with Presage is that they don't make it obliquely clear in the mission that Osiris is Savathun, and I think there would be some confusion with new players or lapsed players. Like, why is Osiris being like this?
Yeah.
Why is Kaido antagonistic? Things like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's just not enough enemies. There's not enough enemies.
But we're still running.
See the harm
We're still running strikes where Cade's narrating the strike, right? Like, I mean,
I don't see an overall huge problem with leaving this in the game, and I think of all these activities, I think this is the one that's pretty easy to leave in.
And it's got one of the best weapons in the game too. And I know you're going to be able to like buy it from the thing or whatever, but it's
so I think the buying is, if I can tangent off into a conspiracy theory, spinfoil hats are coming on, ladies and gentlemen. I think that when they said that it was just a temporary solution to make them available at Xur, I do think that after this season you will be able to craft Dead Man's Tale and Hawkmoon at the crafting table in the Enclave. You'll be able to craft them there, perhaps with new perks this time. Yeah. Make your actual god roll. I'd be very excited. I want to see how Osteostrago goes first before I get too excited, but I would be very happy to see both of those show up there. Yeah. It's pretty clear now those were also test runs for Osteostrago and for weapon crafting.
Yeah.
Best seal title. We have Deadeye, Realm Walker, Fatebreaker, Splicer, and I'm just saying it right now, my pick is Vidmaster.
Yeah.
There's nothing in this game that celebrates the history of Bungie more, perhaps, than the Forerunner Exotic Quest, than the Vidmaster title. It's a deep cut to the great days of the 360. And man, if you're a longtime Bungie fan, you know what a Vidmaster achievement is. A whole bunch of absurd stuff for something really stupid. But it was a bragging right. And the Vidmaster title is very much in the same vein. I go Vidmaster here.
Yeah, Vidmaster. I mean, come
on. And like I promised, we're going to end with 2 lore awards. We're going to go favorite lore book first. A Tangled Web, which is the story of Crow and Glint. Empress, which is the tale of Keitel as she comes to, when she's on Tortoball, all the way up until she comes to the Sol System after learning about Gaul's death. The Captain's Log from Presage, which tells us the story of Gilgamesh and Kadabai. Beneath the Endless Night, the Season of the Splicer seasonal book, and The Dark Future of Elsie Bray. This is a difficult one.
Yeah.
This is a really, because I think each of these tells a really compelling story. For me, I think it actually comes down to Empress or The Dark Future. Dark Future is almost a great cop-out because it's something that doesn't actually happen in-game.
Yeah.
But it does like we said earlier, Elsie is really hard to nominate for Best Character Arc. But here, I think she almost, if Empress wasn't so strong about Keitel's background, I think that Elsie would actually run away with it here.
Yeah.
I think that's actually my pick. I think Dark Future is my pick.
I mean,
here.
yeah, I think Dark Future is the pick here.
It tells a unique story, as does the Captain's Log, but the Captain's Log is really contained within the story of Presage.
Mm-hmm.
It's helping you uncover the mystery of what actually happened there with the Crown of Sorrow and everything else. And Callus has gone missing. Of course, I think Callus is coming back in a few days. But the Dark Future, man, pretty bleak shit. I think kind of gives us a hint as to what we're going to be fighting going forward. This is what would have happened if we had succumbed to the darkness and not overtaken it ourselves.
Yeah.
That we are continuing to be the inflection point. And then the final Ghostie of the year, Ghostie for favorite item lore, is between Survivor's Epitaph, which, if you don't remember, is the story between Mithrax and Shaxx reminiscing about the wars they fought against each other and the atrocities that they've committed. Empty Vessel, which is where Osiris, Osiris, I guess I should say, manipulates Lord Saladin and not going and making amends with Zavala. The Forerunner, which is, of course, Banshee examining a weapon and kind of talking about its place in another universe, and specifically from Halo. The Radiant Acceptor, which is messages from the Traveler that we find within Crow's ship. And you guys really didn't think we were going to get out of the final conversation of the year without mentioning this again. Gallarhorn.
Mm-hmm.
I think these are all great. For me, I think it comes down to, I love Gallarhorn, and I said last week, I think it's the piece of lore that sums up this series the most.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of torn between, I think it might be Radiant Acceptor or Survivor's Epitaph. Just because I think the message from the Traveler is so poignant when you actually read it out and you actually figure out what the Traveler is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Survivor's Epitaph may be the most emotional piece of lore that we have in the series.
Yeah.
At least from the last year.
Yeah.
On an item. And then Gallarhorn, like we said, it kind of sums up what it is to be a Kinderguardian.
Mm-hmm. God. That lore, by the way, I've been thinking about that ever since you read it last week. It's a good piece.
It's a great piece, and I love that it's Randy who's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would. Man, I'm gonna give it the Survivor's Epitaph personally.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I want to give it to Gallarhorn,
I would love to give it to Gallarhorn. Gallarhorn gets an honorary Ghostie,
yeah,
just for being Gallarhorn.
Yeah.
It also has secretly one of the.
It's like the participation Ghostie, participation award.
Yeah, it's kind of like the participation award. In so many categories, like Pack Hunter could have easily gone up for best mod, or best new perk, but I was like, oh, that would kind of dominate things. So we're gonna leave exotic perks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is great. I love this.
Yeah, it's a good one. I agree with you.
And with that, I think that concludes. Not just the Ghosties, but that concludes
God.
Beyond Light here at Tower Casuals. It has been a wild 15 months of content, of growth. We've gone from, averaging a fairly meager amount of listeners to, there's a lot of you that tune in each and every week now.
Yeah.
Thank you for, continually listening, for spreading the show that we do, for your kind words that you tell us. We do see your messages, I promise.
Yeah.
For interacting with us. And I really, I just can't say enough. That's been the majority of this show's run it's been Beyond Light and the lead up to Beyond Light. Mm-hmm. Going into Witch Queen is brand new territory for us. We're much better at this and more versed in Destiny. It's gone beyond just a hobby game for me, something that I play, once or twice a week. Something that I'm doing build crafting, and I have a whole group that I play with. When you guys have gotten to meet so many people in that group that we play with, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own. I am much more invested than I was when we started. At first, I was I like Destiny a lot. I play it pretty religiously. Let's do this. And man, the lead up to Beyond Light, the last 6 months especially, it's been just a wild ride with the anniversary. I mean, we started getting the massive TWABs back in beginning of Season of the Lost, and they never really let up.
Yeah.
We've continued getting them, and I know that, it probably is pretty funny. You can be like, oh, well, they talked about whatever the Bungie blog was, and it's something that I'd like to start moving away from with the Witch Queen a little bit more. Just okay, we'll talk about big things, but, let's move into a more central topic, kind of like we did this week, tackling the story beats again. I'm ready for us to not have to go through another 6-month season, hopefully ever again. Mm-hmm. That makes it really, really hard to do quality content every week, I think. But when we have, we get done with the story beats, and it's oh, okay, well, we're prepping for next season now. We're talking about, some end game pursuits we're doing. Oh, what are the things I'm really grinding out for, so I don't have another threaded needle situation next year.
Yeah.
But never letting that happen again, ever again.
I gotta clean out my vault. Speaking of, I gotta make some space.
But thank you so much for joining Corey and I on this, at times, turbulent year. Not even year, turbulent 15 months of Beyond Light that we've gone through.
Yeah, it's been really crazy watching this show grow. And I mean, Josh already said enough of it, but Josh, you and I both do stuff on the side, and it's
mm-hmm.
this show has grown faster and beyond any of the other stuff that I do, and it's because, I think it's because we're both passionate about Destiny in different ways, I love Destiny, but with a wife and 2 kids, I can't put nearly as much time into it as I would like to, but you're the lore guy, you're the, the role guy. We have friends out there, if we need help, we can pull in, and it's just it's
right.
That just attributes to the community that Destiny has put together, and then Tower Casuals is just a spinoff of that community, obviously, but it's just it's awesome to watch it grow,
Absolutely.
And I'm expecting it to grow even more with the Witch Queen coming up. So
we've noticed we seem to hit inflection points whenever a new season starts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very curious to see what the what it looks like over the next couple of weeks. We have the last big spikes. We had one for the Witch Queen announcement. Before that, it was the Vault of Glass breakdown that we did with the raid team. And I'm looking forward to seeing what comes. There's new seasonal activities. There's new 6-player activity within the Throne World. There's the whole legendary campaign to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a preview of the next couple weeks, I guess, is what we should talk about real quick before we get out of here. I'm aiming for next Thursday to, and I hope that we're both able to set aside enough times and the server is stable enough for us to get through the campaign. I will be doing my first playthrough on Legendary, just because I need to try and power level for the raid, as evidenced by the 55 bounties I have on my hunter ready to go as soon as I get the artifact. We probably will not touch much on the intro to the season right away. I want to be really clear about that. We will probably save that for the following week, just so we can spend all next week talking about the campaign. It's probably going to run a little long because it will be entirely about the campaign, but we're going to have to talk campaign. We're going to have to talk initial impressions on weapon crafting. We're going to talk about Hive Guardians. Hopefully we can both talk about Void 3.0. There's just so much to get through that week. And then the next week I want to be, again, more progression on learning those things when we're about a week and a half in, but also, we got a raid coming up. We got a raid trailer to talk about. My hope is to be able to get some of the guys in for a special episode in between the raid and what will be episode 3 of the Witch Queen, to get some of the guys from the day one team when we clear it to hop on and do a reactions pod with me. Maybe 3 or 4 of us can sit down. We can talk through the encounters, the storyline, the loot, what the armor looks like, the weapons, unique perks, mods, things like that, as well as what we use to clear it. I know we had John on here for raid prep a few weeks ago, but I'd really love to talk about it after we've actually cleared it, give any pointers that we can, etc. And then beyond that, who actually knows? We don't know what exotic quests are going to know. There's at minimum 8 exotics shipping, along with 6 exotic armor pieces, 2 for each class. Like, how do those change things? And like, after we get through the raid, we're probably going to have an Iron Banner going. We're going to have trials going. Like, there's a lot to take in. I'm going on a vacation about 3 or 4 weeks after the expansion comes out, so I'll be in the Bahamas at the end of March,
and I'll be on a work trip at the end of March. So.
Oh man, so you guys may not get an episode on the 24th, just as a warning. March 24th, we may take the week off.
Yeah.
There's going to be weekly story beats. There's going to be new loot drops. God, I can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be really fun. I can't wait to sit here and spend 2 hours talking about how great glaives are or how underwhelming they are. Who knows how that one's going to go?
Could go either way.
The best thing ever or terrible.
Could go either way.
So if I show up sad, you know what happened.
Josh got glaved. Womp womp.
Josh got glaved, or they just suck. So we'll see what happens. But that's kind of a preview of what you can expect over the coming weeks. We'll go back to doing lore from the seasons now that we're not in a 6-month season anymore. And there's lore we can actually read. But we will be doing week-to-week seasonal lore from, of course, the lore books, the expansions, and from the weapons. So there we go.
There we go. Well, Josh.
Well, Corey.
It's been fun. Beyond Light has been
fun.
fun.
Our longest episode in quite a while.
Oh my gosh, it's almost 2.5 hours.
Oh God, I'm so sorry for everyone listening to this.
It's okay. They'll be fine. They like it. We had to have the ghosties.
We had to do the ghosties. I did not plan on a full Gambit rework getting dropped on me at 2:00 this afternoon.
That's fair, but we had to have the ghosties. It's fine. They'll be fine. It's fine. But Josh, let's head out. We have some preparations to do before Beyond Light, or before the Witch Queen. So
we do.
I want to thank everybody for watching and/or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. If you listen on Spotify or iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember, the show comes out every Friday morning on your podcast service of choice. Josh, thank you for your time tonight. As always, where can we find you?
Twitter at Josh_Finn 2 N's, and God willing, fingers crossed that Twitch decides to be stable enough for me on Tuesday. If it is stable enough for me on Tuesday and my internet decides to hold up, there is a distinct chance that I will stream the Legendary campaign. I'll be playing through that with our friends Nerd Generalist and Colonel Panic as soon as it goes live. My plan is to be in a waiting room, be sitting there on the intro screen for the Witch Queen, maybe for 40 minutes before. Again, if things hold up together, and do a unboxing of my collector's edition on camera, or at least, read through some of the book there, so that we're not having to devote like 50 minutes to it in a future episode. Play around with some of the objects like the strange coins, see if we can get any audio out of them, things like that. So, but if my internet does not hold up, it does not seem to like running Twitch and any sort of online game at the same time, then I will simply be posting funny clips from my gameplay on Twitch, or on Twitter, excuse me. And we will hopefully, fingers crossed, get the internet completely stable, whether that's with a new router or whatever, in time for raid day.
Nice. You can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram, and hopefully we'll get some of this Witch Queen gameplay up somewhere for you. Maybe I'll record my gameplay and we'll just throw it up on the YouTube channel for the heck of it, So thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. Follow us on Twitter at Tower Casuals and Instagram. Bigger initiative, I think, going forward with social media. Because I made us a cool Buffer account. So we can schedule things.
I will be learning how to use Buffer this weekend.
Oh, dude, it's so easy. I'll tell you later. Anyways, thank you guys for watching and or listening. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.